Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thanks for being here. Excited to get this week going. This is Easter week as Passion Week, also, or common people call it Easter week. Theologically sound individuals call it the Passion Week. And yesterday was Palm Sunday, and we're going to be having some conversations about theology in churches and frankly, maybe even avoiding some what I would call weak sauce churches, because it's probably not good for your health. Okay, so again, not calling these folks heretics and stuff like that. Just know what you're getting yourself into if you're going to be hanging out and hanging around folks of this variety. Don't accuse me of causing division. I'm not the one causing division. This is the guy that's causing division. Tom, how you doing, brother?
Yo, what's up, guys? So
And
good to
just
be
threw
here.
it on you, man. You're short again. Your head is gigantic.
Happy Monday. Listen, man, if you want to come and help me with my studio, I would be more than willing to.
Yeah,
take
I've been
it
at your
off,
house
but-
like a bunch of times, and you haven't said, "Hey, man, let's fix this up." Like I'm a mess of
yeah,
a
at this
person.
point, like I
don't know
give
what
up
to
on
do.
doing. So my camera is attached to my table. So check this out, guys. So my camera is attached to my table, the back of my desk, right? So I was like, I pulled my desk forward, so there was way more room in the back now because I have these two speakers. So I was like, oh, nice. Now the camera is gonna be like further, and then I realized it's attached to my desk. So like, no matter where my desk goes, it's the same distance.
Well, we can solve that very, very easily.
Yeah. See, this is the. Can you see the setup from there?
Yeah,
So like, my camera is following me.
yeah. We can
I
see
don't know how to
that.
show you. This is
We can
weird.
solve that. We can solve that so easily, man. So, folks, thanks for being here. Hit the like button. Share this out. We're gonna be talking some theology and all that. So, good afternoon, saints. Hosanna to the highest. Waiting for an Apologia Center is like waiting for a certain pastor to finish golfing. I think he is golfing right now, isn't he?
Oh no.
Jack says, "Did you guys just go live?" Yes, we did. We just went live, and this is live. You're watching us live. Tom, I lost my voice.
We're technically 5 seconds into the future, but yeah, you're watching us, I guess,
we're in the
live.
future. Yesterday we found out that one of our friends was watching our live from last Monday, and then realized at one point that he was 20 minutes behind.
Yeah.
So he is golfing. Oh man, I'm not sick,
Oh no,
Tom. I'm not sick. I'm coughing because I really pushed my voice the other day. You were there. You
I don't know,
witnessed
man.
it.
You always say this stuff. You always say these like excuses, and then like 2 days later, you're sick, and you're like, I don't know what happened.
I feel completely fine. How did you guys get those crowns? What
What's he
crowns?
talking about?
Oh, YouTube gives you crowns if you're active in the chat and all that, man. Jack, it's a YouTube thing. And you have one now too. Okay, so Tom, as you are staring away into your phone or whatever.
No, I'm not staring away. I'm sharing our link out to Instagram. And
yes. He's doing work, is what he's trying to say.
yes.
And I'm talking to myself, so I'll take him off camera. Let's talk to myself. Hello, self. How are you doing? You have a guy who's a co-host, but isn't very active. What do you have to say about that? I don't know. I don't know what I would say about that. He's a strange character. I sent him the link, and then he told me I never send him the link, so he can share it out. Because this man has about 1,235 unchecked texts, about 100,240 unchecked emails. When you look at Tom's phone, everybody, the amount of notifications you will see, and not notifications, notifications, like the little pop-up with the number on it, will give you anxiety to the fullest. to the absolute fullness because he has this.
This is a sickness of the highest order.
Very, very.
Where do
very
you
big
share it? Where do you
sickness.
share the thing on? Where do you share the link on Discord? What? Why is there like 50 hashtags
Announcements. Announcements.
here? Announcements. Then you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you
Oh, I
put
can't
at
share it. Only you
everyone.
can share it.
Yeah, only I
Okay.
can do it.
Well, I'm not allowed to share.
Yeah, me and Jerome actually can share it. Jerome,
Okay.
share it out. He's in the chat right now. He's a popular
What's up,
guy.
everybody?
No, he's not a popular guy. He just doesn't check it.
Listen,
he has
if
texts
you
he
ignore
hasn't checked.
people long enough, you will feel
Look,
popular as well.
He has texts he hasn't checked since like 4 years ago. Sad. Don't.
Okay, let's check this live. How many texts do I? I feel
Look,
like
he
you're
said.
wrong
He
and
said.
you're
Look at
exaggerating.
this. It's
That's
such
not
a privilege.
that much.
Look at this. It's such a privilege when he wants to hang out with me.
187, bro. That's not that much. 187 texts. It used to be
Didn't know
way
that
more.
Arthur was a bully. There's many things you don't know about Arthur, Jerome. I might be the biggest bully there is. Tomek's phone is literally millions of unread messages. Think of all the Nigerian princes who can't give him money.
Mm,
This
that's
is
a good
true.
point.
This is true.
That's a good point.
Oh, this man is making us the Apologia Center shield, bro. He said, wait till you get the shield. Come on. Tomek's favorite excuse is, I can't. I'm getting hibachi.
Who said that?
Nick Quinn.
Yes, I did go. My cousin did invite us.
Well, I don't know what you're
over.
talking about, but Nick and I got to hang out the other day, and then you completely
What did you
ditched us.
guys do?
Didn't come out. We were at my house, and then some other people came, and we hung out at my house.
That's awesome.
How
yeah,
many
that's right. You sent me
Instagram?
pictures
How
and
many
stuff.
unchecked Instagram messages do you have, Tom?
I don't disclose that kind of information. But it's. How do you check Instagram? Oh, not that much actually. 11. Or actually, no,
Okay.
it just
Yeah,
stops counting after a while. A lot. Never mind.
He's like 11 in the last hour. Oh man. Hey, let's talk theology. Let's talk theology, but let's talk about theology.
Let's
Like,
do it. Let's do it.
You get the difference there, right? Like, let's talk
Yes.
theology would be you and I doing theology. Let's talk about
Yeah, whatever.
theology
Whatever you say.
is what?
I'm having a little trouble here. Do you think you can help me?
What's the trouble you are having?
Like my voice is too high in my ear,
Yeah,
but
you
then
gotta-
I
you
can't
got-
turn my Like if I turn my volume down, then the volume goes down for everybody. You get what I'm saying?
Are you
Yeah,
not
bro, whatever.
connected? Are your headphones not connected to the mixer?
They are. They are.
So okay, are they
It's
connected
fine.
to
I'll
channel
deal with
1?
it today.
Is it connected to
Yes,
channel
yes.
1?
Channel 2. Channel 2.
Okay, lower 2. What's the problem?
Yeah, when I lower 2, you lower in my ear too. I just want to lower my voice in my ear, but not your voice. But it doesn't work that way, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, it is what it is.
Are you two going to talk about eternal security again? No, we're not talking about eternal security. We're both eternally very secure about our eternal security.
Yeah, actually, Arthur came over and we discussed that a couple days after.
Yeah.
I let
Tom
him
told
have
me
it.
that
We got into a fist fight.
I apologized to him and stuff because Tom said, Art, I don't want to embarrass you. I took it easy on you and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, Tom, thanks, man.
Yeah. Sure.
I can't handle the heat when you bring it, bro. Can't handle it.
No, but you did come over after and we had.
I did. Yeah. We had a really good discussion. It was really good to have that discussion because your wife was sitting there and watching us have that discussion.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you guys are so mature.
Yeah, that's right. She's like, oh my God, this is how friends are when they're not
Oh
women.
my God, you're so mature. She's probably in the chat. She's like, I'm talking like that.
This
And
is
she
how friends
doesn't
are when
talk
they're
like
not
that.
women. Women just can't like ever disagree without like disliking each other. I feel like.
Bro, you're going to get us into that whole thing again. Now we're going to get texts from all the women.
I'm not trying to. I'm sorry. Okay. But I'm just saying that's almost like fact. That's almost a fact. Right?
See, I have like a stress
Like,
button here
did
because
you,
Tom
when
stresses
I
me out.
said
I gotta
they say
click
weird
this.
things? Like when I said, did you see when I said that? Like the way her facial expressions changed. I was like, no, I didn't. Man, sometimes I'm
You
so
stress me out,
happy I'm a
bro.
man.
You stress me out. I gotta be on this stress toy. So okay, let's talk theology, man. Look, it's a time during the year where an unusual amount of people go to church because they think you should only go to church around this time of the year for some awkward reason.
That's right.
Um.
Yep,
So
that's right.
now here,
Sorry,
there's
I'm
always.
testing my. Sorry,
I know what you're
I'm
doing.
sorry.
You're not even having a
Go ahead.
conversation with me. He's just talking to himself to make sure his mic works or like his.
I'm falsely agreeing with them. Just
Like
anyways.
Calvinism is wrong. He's like, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Amen.
You just gotta test all these things out. That's
I'm gonna cut that out. Jack says, I have a question about theology, but I don't know if you would appreciate that. So I'll ask it, and then if we don't appreciate it, we'll tell you, hey, Jack, stop asking stupid stuff, and you'll go on your way. If we appreciate it, we'll answer it. Talking about heat, did you see Chris at Speaker's Corner getting attacked Saturday night? No, I didn't. I was at a wedding on Saturday night into the wee hours of the night. For those that might know, Armenian weddings are notorious for running late. Hey, Tom, have you ever been to like a non-Armenian, like a white person's wedding?
I don't think so, man. I've been invited to them, but it's usually been out of state, so I haven't been.
Okay. So I got invited to I got invited to a non-Armenian wedding.
Have you been to one?
Yeah.
So
you're a mess. And so I get there, and it's probably, I don't know, like 5-6 o'clock, something like that. And various things happen, and it's cool, like seeing and stuff. And then it was like around 9, and they were like, "Oh, we're done." And like people are going, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was so confused. This is many years ago, by the way. And I was like, "What is going on?" And then somebody said, I said, "What do you mean that's it? Like, when's the dancing gonna happen?" They're like, "Oh, what we did there was the dancing." And I was like, "Bro, to give you an equivalent, I showed up. I thought we were late to the wedding this last Saturday. I told my wife, I kept telling my wife, you're making us late. We're late, all this stuff." She's like, "No, I bet you anything the bride and groom haven't even walked into the hall." Right? And so I was like, "No way." We're on our way. It's like 7:30. We get there, and they haven't walked in. They walked in at 8:08. The reception got going at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, because he's a dinosaur boomer, left the wedding at like 10:30.
Oh, Tom, actually, God bless his soul. Or no,
Well, he's not
when
dead.
You die, right? No, man. Yeah, God encourage him in his soul. What do you say? He went home at 10:30 so he could be wide awake and ready to go at church the next day, the following day.
I mean, was I not wide awake at church the following day?
I mean, you were, but you weren't singing. When you sleep late and there's stress on your vocals and all that kind of stuff, and you wake up mucky, especially me, I have sleep problems. People pray for me. Someone told me yesterday to chew, what do you call it? Pumpkin seeds before I sleep. They said pumpkin seeds are high in magnesium.
Bro, ChatGPT that. Don't listen to that. That sounds like something like your mom said. Or
no. Actually, it was one of the guys from church. They're like, pumpkin.
Is it a health person? Is this a health person?
No. I don't think so.
That just sounds like fake.
It's worth a shot. I mean, pumpkin seeds are pretty bomb.
Yeah, so Tom went home because he had important things to do in the morning. I mean, it was I think somebody said it's Hosanna Day. Somebody said that the other day. I think it was one of either my kids or
It's true. It's true. It's
or
Hosanna Day.
Sako's kids. Your wife's backing you up in there. Tatiana, you weren't here earlier to hear him say negative stuff about you. So rewind and then you'll see
Well,
he said
there
stuff
was
and
no
you mad at him.
Honey.
So I lost my voice because I yelled. I danced. I haven't danced like that. Man, I have not danced like that in a very long time. I mean, I probably lost 15 pounds.
Mm.
I don't know, but I don't know if I lost 15 pounds, but I was sweating.
You do look very healthy today. Like your skin and your.
You were telling me I was sick yesterday. Today you look healthy now.
No, not healthy. Like you're not sick. Healthy as in your overall appearance looks very healthy.
It's the lighting. If you actually see me in person, I'm a skeleton. Tatiana, don't defend your husband. He confessed to not going straight to sleep. Oh, this is true. You did confess to not going straight to sleep.
Hey, that doesn't matter, brother. That doesn't matter because there's a wind down period. Okay.
Are you not entertained?
I feel like at this point, Arthur's just paying people to come on and just like air my dirty laundry.
I forgot about that.
Like, where's the Apologia Center finances being used?
Oh God. Oh man, hey, you say it in public. That's what happens. Can you guys start talking about theology? We're not going to talk about theology. We're going to talk about other people doing theology. Ellen says, I'm glowing. Look at that. I'm glowing.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said you're. Did I say that? Something like that.
I don't know what you said. Okay.
No homo.
So,
no homo.
What'd you say?
No homo. Like you're glowing, but no homo.
Oh, it's hilarious because someone the other day goes, I'm like standing next to him at my son's soccer game, and then he just like leans over and goes, hey, bro, what cologne are you wearing? No homo. like, bro, just ask me what cologne I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I have the text messages to prove that Tomek wasn't asleep at midnight.
Hey, now that is true. I did text him. I think it was 12:04.
Bro, this is a roast session, baby. This guy.
By the way, speaking of theology,
he's gonna be like, I was so nervous for Palm Sunday, I couldn't go to sleep. That's why I was up texting Nick Quint.
Yeah, no homo though.
I needed pastoral. I needed a pastor to pray for me. My pastor was sleeping, but another pastor wasn't, so I needed them to pray for me.
Speaking of our
you
pastor,
can't say.
We went.
Wait.
We went suit shopping together yesterday, y'all.
Pause. What's going on? What? There's some YouTube stuff I don't know. Wait. Sorry. Are you looking at the comments? It says you can't say. You can't say what we said on YouTube. You have to say pause. What?
No pause. I have to say that no pause.
Okay, whatever.
Oh no, the fanfare is not the right one. I can censor it. Like, hey Arthur, you're looking really good today, bro. But no.
Okay.
Guys, stop distracting us. I'm trying to say one thing. Arthur, like, you haven't let me get one word out of my mouth.
They're so distracting.
Brother. Important things happened yesterday.
Hey man, why do we have 22 people
made up?
Wait, why do we have 22 people here but 13 likes only? What's going on with that?
Because Saad is not going to like anything until we start talking about theology.
Oh, go ahead. What are you talking about?
I was saying there's some good big Christian news. Okay,
George
Janko and Sam Shamoon made up, but I was going to tell you guys that I watched this kind of half of last night and half this morning. Now I have to like actually clarify everything because everybody apparently knows my life and they'll be like, no, it wasn't last night, all of it. But there's a really good discussion. I'm trying to send it to you guys right now with here you go. You guys should I think I put okay, yeah, you guys should check that out. It's Sean McDowell and Bart Ehrman.
Oh, bro.
who had a conversation 3 days ago,
Yeah, very good.
and it was very good. That's all I'll say, because I don't want to put a biased thing out there and tell you how bad Bart Ehrman is at having conversations.
Okay, so wait, are we? Is it that Sam called George and apologized, or is it Sam Shamoon on George Jenko reaching out to apologize?
Yeah. Sam. Apparently, George Janko reached out and apologized, and then Sam Shamoon shared the text and said that he's gonna forgive him because that's what Christians should do, and then threw Ruslan out a couple times about having George Janko on the show. But he says Ruslan's name very weird, bro. Why does he say it like that?
What does he say,
Like
Ruslan?
the captions say Bruce. It's really weird. But anyways, yeah. So
Bruce.
that's what I was up to, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Drama.
So what are we talking about today? Women in leadership?
No. We're talking about I don't know. I was gonna write weak sauce theology or something like that, but we're talking about theology. The best way for me to put it into my words and explain it myself, is this: that theology that's not very well thought out. Okay, like making theological statements. I'll give you one that this is something I heard growing up, and I remember hearing it and I was saying, man, that really bugs me. I don't like that. But typically this was a conversation that would happen in conversations about like Calvinism, and then people will say things like, oh, if like I can't ever worship a God the way Calvinists explain it.
Yeah, that's a popular one.
And I was like, oh,
sure.
that's weak sauce theology. You okay, bro? What's going on?
Yeah, my wife just brought me an impressive dish right here. Look at that. I think she's just showing off at this point for the cameras.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, go ahead. Lunchtime.
Now this guy's gonna eat. Okay. So like those are the sorts of things, right? Like I think about like what I would say, like Jesus is my boyfriend, like theology, where like everything revolves around how much Jesus like is like dying for your attention. Worship songs. So I'll come into your category in your territory a little bit. Worship songs, quote unquote worship songs, where like the entire focus is on the person and none of it's about God. And then we call it praise music. I'm like, who are we praising? I mean, it's still praise music if you want to think about it, right? But it's like, we're praising God, praising ourselves. Now, that's not to say, I'm very balanced on this stuff, you guys. Very, very balanced on this stuff. That's not to say that we can't have music within our praise and worship that include us in there. Like, obviously, it's about our relationship with God. Like, that ought to be a part of the whole thing. But if it's like the entirety of the thing is just us, I think that becomes problematic. So this is the sort of stuff that I would like to speak about. Dish looks amazing. Now, that's probably a fake account that your wife has.
It's her burner.
It's her burner account.
Kevin Durant. It's like Kevin Durant. Have you heard of Kevin Durant's burner account? He asks questions and then goes and answers it with his burner accounts. It's actually been proven.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like with music, I always say, if you can sing the song to your significant other, your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, it's probably not like, it's not a song you want to sing to Jesus. So like you can't go to your wife and be like, Lord, I lift your name on high. Lord, I love to sing your praises. It's like, okay. Yeah. Actually, I guess if she said it to me, you can. Until the part it's you came from heaven to earth. Kind of, I guess. Never mind. No, it is. Because it says from the earth to the cross, right? So then at that point, it's like no longer. You know what? You get my point. And then there's like songs that are just like random, where like you raise me up so I can stand on mountains. Like who's that actually written to?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, hey man, yeah. I mean,
But that is a good song. I gotta admit,
that's a great song, by the way. Josh Groban kills it on that. I saw Josh Groban live singing that.
Mm.
Man. Is this thing crooked? So, look, my heart is this. Like, and there's a good balance between these things, right? Like, because you can have theologically articulate, well-rounded individuals, Tom, that like just don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, you can't hang out with them.
Can you give me an example?
Can I give you an example of a person like that?
Yeah. Not a real person, like a caricature of a person like that. An example, not a real person.
It's probably what you were like when you were younger, but no. So some individuals, for example, well, here's the thing, right? Like, so we were at a wedding the other day. Like, some individuals can't find themselves at weddings just enjoying themselves. They got to find someone to like talk theology with. Like, you can't go out and sit down and just like shoot the breeze, with hang out, talk sports, like just like for them, everything has to come back to some intense theological debate where it gets draining to hang out with people like this, by the way. And there's a reason why people who are like this, people who have this kind of a characteristic, don't have many close friends. Because they drain their friends. They're always arguing with their friends.
Yeah.
So on one end, it's that. On one end, it's like, well, we want to be theologically secure and solid and know our stuff, where like it never shuts off. And then on the other hand, it's, oversimplicity when it comes to theological materials. When a subject gets too hard, it's very easy for them to punt it to, we'll never know. When you bring up different subjects within Christian like dialogue and disagreement, these individuals will say things like, well, Christians haven't been able to figure it out. Like, I'm not going to try to figure it out either. They kind of like give up on it. Now, the worst of all is when you have church leadership that's like that. Worst of all is when you got churches that are like that and they function on that kind of a operation. That's my main beef, by the way. It's not just necessarily believers who are like that, but it is churches that are run like that. We don't get into, like, if we're preaching a passage, for example, and the passage is difficult, they oversimplify it. If the passage has, suppose, like textual variants in there, it's never mentioned. If the passage leans a certain theological position and there's debates over that passage, it's never mentioned. And then like the sermon ends up being something that the passage usually doesn't have anything to do with. Like, that's the other end. And so that's sort of my challenge is, hey, the middle ground obviously here would be a proper place to be. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. And then there's some comments that have come in.
Yeah, go ahead. You can read the comments.
Saad says, this reminds me of a pet peeve of people who say that both Arminianism and Calvinism are right. Correct. Can't stand that kind of a comment. No, they're not. Like, they can't be. It's impossible. Like, stop. Just it's better for you to not talk, Yeah, that bugs me a lot too. Ivan says, Arthur, I used to be this way, but it's annoying when 80% of people, 100% of their lives is the small talk. I used to be so annoying talking to people. Sorry, I used to be so annoyed. I used to be so annoyed talking to people because they don't know anything about anything. I'm obviously generalizing, but it's like you can't talk about anything outside of sports, TV shows with them. It used to drive me nuts. Yeah, I mean, it would drive me nuts too. It really would. For me, I can't really resonate with that. Partly because I live in a community, and I have lived in a community where people have generally had a good balance, and the ones that have been imbalanced have been individuals that I mean, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I've had both of those extremes. But in regards to my personal life, the ones that have bugged me more have been individuals who can't turn it off. Like they gotta. I don't know why it's so bad to talk about theology over sports. It's not, but maybe one thing you should think about is to talk about the theology of sports. Bang bang. Gotcha. Because there should be a theology of sport. By the way, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying you drain people if you're like this. I get drained by people like that because sometimes I just don't want to talk about theology. I want to talk about other things. Sometimes I want to get up and dance. You should know how to dance as well as talk theology. So let me go back to this concept. So my question is more of a comment, but I want you guys to expand on it. I feel that systematic theologians add categories to their books, but when they quote the scripture, it's not relevant. Most of the time, in context, it has nothing to do with the topic the theologian is covering. Tommy, you want to comment on this? I have a sneaky suspicion who this Jack person is. Hey, Jack, are you who I think you are?
Jack?
Yeah. Well, his name's not Jack.
I don't know who this person is. I can't
Based on
think at
that
all.
comment, I think I know who this person is.
Can you,
Based on
where
the
is that
comment about
comment? I'm trying to
systematic
see it.
theology. The system, you got to go up.
Is that
the
like
systematic
earlier
theology
on?
comment. Yeah.
Or, can you
Yeah,
put
the
it up?
the systematic theology comment.
Can you post it like on the screen?
Hang on, man. Chillax. Don't yell at me. Okay, so my question is more of a comment. It's not a question, I guess. But I want you guys to expand on it. I feel that systematic theologians add categories to their books, but when they quote the scripture, it's not relevant. Most of the time, in context, it has nothing to do with the topic the theologian is covering. I'd say something like it has to do with the topic, but contextually, it's not relevant. I've seen that happen. Do you want to comment on that, Tom?
Everyone does that. It's
Yeah,
know.
but he's specifically going after systematic theologians. He's not. I don't think
Like
he's
who?
even going.
Like who?
I don't even
curious.
think he's going after systematic theologians. I think he's going after the idea of systematic theology.
Yeah, maybe I'm just dumb, but I have a very hard time separating just like doing theology with doing systematic theology, and like it's like kind of a mix for like I don't have a button in my head. Like there are times where someone's speaking and I'll be like, okay, he's using systematic theology as a method to explain something. Like when we were talking about eternal security, perseverance of the saints, and we were looking at a passage and then I brought something up and I said, but this explains. And you're like, yeah, you're doing that systematically and stuff like that. But I mean, most of the time it's just people are doing theology. I don't think
that's what he's talking about. I think the comment's more about like, let's have doing systematic theology on an issue like money. And then you go in all the places in the Bible and you essentially find conversations about money and you're developing theology.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then
that would be a very bad systematic theologian. Like I don't see them doing that. So I'm
What do you mean?
curious, like what are some of those examples?
Okay, Jack can give us some of those examples that he's thinking about. I actually agree with him, but my comments on that is that systematic theology should be developed out of a biblical theology, and that's the best way to do it. Is what you said earlier about someone at the wedding you guys were referring to? No, I wasn't referring to anyone like that. But like, I'll give you an example. This is not aimed at anyone, but we were just at a wedding and it's nice. Speak about this. Like, but it could be anything. Let's forget the wedding. I don't want people misunderstanding what I'm trying to say here. But if I go to Tom's son's birthday and we're there to celebrate the kid, but like I ignore the entire celebration of the kid and I'm sitting in a corner or trying to drag people into conversations about theology when maybe they're trying, like I actually think that's improper living. Like you've been inviting to celebrate this person. And you ought to celebrate them. And like completely ignoring the, what's it called? The intent of the event so that, you can have your own conversation. Again, the situations can change depending on the event and what's going on and how diverse and stuff it is. But I hope you guys are understanding my thoughts here. Don't take me too literally on my examples there. Maybe an analogy would be good for this. It's like, we'll come up with one. Tom's not listening to me.
No, I am. I was just kind of writing down some of the things, some of the annoying theological statements that I know. But go ahead.
Okay. So like that's all I'm talking about, guys. That's AHB said it's bad manners. Yeah, I think so. Again, depending on the event, what's going on. Like, dude, if I did an engagement party, which I did when I got engaged, I did an engagement gathering, and maybe there's like, I don't know, 20, 25 people there. Like right after we got engaged, we went and had dinner. And if people were just like ignoring that and just having conversations on the side about whatever it may be, then I think that's problematic, you guys. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's almost as annoying as like people who leave the wedding hall and go outside and talk to each other and like smoke cigars and stuff like that.
I agree. I don't disagree with you. Though I was outside for a little bit of time because my watch told me that I'm going to go deaf.
No, you're good at that. I have to agree. You're good at that.
By the way, my watch did tell me my watch said it's too loud around you. Even very little exposure to this loud music can cause temporary hearing loss. And I was like, whatever, man, I'm dancing. So, but when I was on my way home, it started ringing in my ears. Got a couple of friends who wear their ear. Maybe I should start doing that, but I don't know. Ivan says, I get it. I think what makes it awkward is when people try to force it in every convo. That's yes. Like each topic has to be about theology or conspiracies or Donald Trump. I was just watching a speech Donald Trump was given about Greek people. Yeah. I love the Greek people.
A couple that I put here that I hate, just to show how some of us can kind of commit this act of weak theology, even if we're not trying to. But saying something like things like everything has a reason, everything happens for a reason. Like that, for example, if you're in a context of somebody like losing somebody, and I saw this happen, by the way, firsthand recently. Someone's lost someone or something tragic has happened or something of that sort, and you say something like, well, I know this is bad, but everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
That I feel like people who hate Christianity and like see people like that, like I can't disagree with them. Like if I wasn't mature in the way I think about Christianity in a process of sanctification and kind of having grace on these people, I would totally be on the side that looks at statements like that coming from Christians and be like, these people are the stupidest people. Like I can't stand them. Like it's go ahead.
It's even not well thought out in this sense. Like people used to tell me everything has a reason. I would say, of course, everything has a reason. Even natural occurrences have a reason. If you're walking down the street and you trip over a branch and fall, I could say, everything has a reason, and the reason for your tripping and falling is because there's a branch in front of you that you didn't see, right? Like you weren't paying attention or something like that. But what you're trying to say is everything has a purpose.
Yeah.
That's a very, very different statement. But again, like thinking it through well, and then also having the wisdom to communicate that at the right proper time.
Yeah. But even that, Arthur, even that you have to be careful. Like everything has a purpose. Now it does in the grand scheme of things, but like they might not see that purpose come about.
Oh,
But it's
correct.
good to
Yeah.
clarify. So it's this mix up of like God's like protection or providence versus just like complete evil or something like that. Like the
Yes.
reality of evil. So it's like I don't know. You don't want someone mixing those two things up. You know, like evil can happen in the world, and just like I want to be careful. I don't know how to say this, but I want to be careful to say like if something evil happened to someone and God didn't protect them or something from that evil, it's maybe not necessarily because like that person had to be a sacrifice for this of like really greater good to happen. There could be like a clear distinction that I was just evil. And like, will God use it in some sense if he's willing to bring himself glory or to comfort that person or to, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it is still an act of evil, and it could just end up being an act of evil for 300 years without any like real fruit coming about in the person who's suffering.
Yeah.
So there could be just evil things. That's one of them. And then I had another one written down here. This is my one of my biggest pet peeves is God won't give you more than you can handle. God won't give you more than you can handle. And I've been a victim to this. Like where I've been like in a moment of suffering, and then I went something like, but you promised me you wouldn't give me more than I can handle. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Like when I had COVID and I was stuck in the hospital for a couple of weeks, I genuinely couldn't handle it. I was feeling that my sanity was escaping my conscience. Like I was just, it was too much suffering. Like it was physical suffering, like crazy mental suffering. I mean, I one day I want to go back and just get my doctor's notes from the hospital and see what they wrote about me. I mean, it was bad to a point where they even sent like a priest to my room, like whoever the Adventist hospital or whatever they have, like, hey, like we just want to sit down and talk to you about like your soul, because they're like, this might be like headed a bad direction and stuff. And I was like, no, I have no problems with where my soul, where my spirit will end up. Like I believe in Jesus, he's my savior and things of that sort. But it was not that at that time necessarily that like I was misapplying the scripture, but it has been placed so much in you where even when for example, in that passage, I forget, like Corinthians or something, it's not talking about suffering, like physical suffering, but it's talking about temptation. But you've been told so much that God won't give you more than you can handle. You think it's physical suffering. Like you think it's Paul is speaking about actual suffering. Like there's no way that God will allow me to lose my son because that's more than I can handle. And Paul clearly says that God won't do that to me. And if you teach someone garbage theology like that, and then when the thing happens where they can't handle it anymore and they feel so they're so saddened and it's such a dark moment where they're like questioning taking their own life, then who do they immediately blame?
Yeah.
The person who promised me that they wouldn't give me more than I can handle, when it's actually talking about like, hey, this is about temptation. Like, it's just temptation. It's a completely
correct. Very
So
different
anyways.
context. Yeah, it's misteaching.
Eat my cucumber now.
I'm just going to read a couple of that have come in actually. Ivan says mine is God has a plan for your life, or anyone who uses Philippians 4:13 or Jeremiah 29:11 in their bios.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. Like, talk about misapplying scripture.
Yeah.
Are second chances given to people who talk theology all the time? I have a feeling they aren't given the grace to show them they've changed. Hey, Jack, did you actually answer the question I asked? Is that I think I know you and you are who I think you are? I don't see why. Like, it's not about second chances being given. It's that an individual who actually changes, it's going to be visible, like as you interact with them. Like, they're going to be able to have normal conversations with you. Can you imagine, Tom, if you and I got together and we didn't discuss our families? Can you imagine you and I sitting together and then not one of us brings up our children or our wives?
Yeah. No, I can't.
Like, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Like, and that goes all directions, by the way. Right. So I agree with what some of you guys are saying is individuals whose like entire existence is sports and stuff like that. That's all they talk about. And then like if you try to bring up a serious theological matter, they can't have a conversation with you. That's a person who's probably stuck in idolatry. Okay. But or I would say the equivalent to like someone you hang out with and all they talk about is politics. And you bring up a point of conversation when it comes to theology, and you try to biblically ground maybe even their politics, and they can't even track with you. That's probably idolatry. But I'm saying like there's things in life that it's okay to discuss and talk about, and like it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh man, but we're not talking theology. Like that's and our second chance is given to people like that. I mean, sure hope so. But it's not even second chances. I'd say third, fourth, fifth, eighth, 15th chances. I mean, that's a part of people's growth. Like for me, that's not an issue because um, I've seen people who've grown and matured in such amazing ways, and it's really cool to see that. And I love that.
Yeah.
Or happy
Also,
wife, happy life. How is that biblical?
Also, if you're only talking to people about like theology or specific subjects, like that's not true friendship. Just by the way, I would never want a friend like that. I can sit down with my friends and we can talk about completely opposite subjects. The entire, for example, like yesterday, Arthur and I hung out with a bunch of guys. We never, ever, ever, ever brought up politics. Not one time. It was never brought up. I
Yeah.
can't think of one conversation when any, like even a minor part of any kind of politic conversation was brought up. And there's a lot on my mind. There's a lot on other people's mind. It just wasn't brought up. It was other conversations. Or like when I see my friend Emil, for example, uh, we can talk about something very serious. About one last week we were talking about something very serious, the matter of like Israel in the Bible. Like, what is Israel? What is modern day Israel? How does it relate to the nation of Israel? And then today we're gonna hang out and just literally talk about music the whole time.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, if I had like the chance to speak to some people that I've, let's say, maybe look up to is a strong word, but some people I respect and I appreciate in Christendom, like if I was able to sit down with like R.C. Sproul or Charles Spurgeon or Billy Graham or any of these guys, John Wesley, like I don't think my first conversation would be like, "What are your thoughts on perseverance of the saints?" My first question would be like, "How did you do all this and manage like taking care of your family and loving your children?" Or how did you balance your life as a servant of God uh, and also like do other things in life, like have fun, not let all the time go by? You know what I mean? Like that's, I feel like that's the healthy way to look at even people who are theologically solid. It's like, do you want every conversation with them if you had that opportunity? Um, what kind of questions would you ask? I don't know if it's, and I look at that, I look at like Arthur and my pastor and people in my life like that. It's like, yeah, there are times that I want to learn theological stuff or apologetics and all this kind of stuff. But there's times I just want to be like, hey man, like when you were like depressed once in your life, how did you handle it?
Yeah.
Because like I'm having a hard time handling it. Not necessarily like, do you think election is a primary issue in the, you know, it's like, I don't know, man. That's not how I view my friends.
Christianity has forgiveness and reconciliation as a core theme, in my opinion. Well, there's no question about that. Let's see. Yeah, but like again, my point wasn't just like in regards to the way you and I are living our lives and stuff. It's church communities where everything is oversimplified, Tom.
Yeah.
Where like even in Bible studies, if the conversation becomes too serious, people discourage it. They're like, no, let's not talk about it here. And it's like, then where?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Now
you're talking
again,
about the opposite end. Yeah.
Again, it could be that in your Bible study or the subject you have or the passage you're talking about is on a certain subject, and somebody brings up another thing that they want to talk about, and you go, well, we're not going to talk about that now. Like, we're not going to deal with that. But like, I'm talking about like when it's a difficult matter, and it's because of the difficulty that people are ignoring or discouraging those kinds of conversation. That's stuff that's really, really dangerous.
Yeah, well,
man.
you know what the problem is, and I'm going to be real about this, is because a lot of those churches, and I know some, I've been part of some, and I have and I have some around me. Actually, I have one right across the street from me. The ones that I talked about a few months ago, which is an epic story. I feel like one day we need to tell your audience how that played out. But it's because they don't know the answers to the questions you're asking. It's not only because they think that that's too serious, and now they're talking about like the how much Jesus loves us moment, and so they don't want to bring up the serious conversation. Sometimes it's that, and I understand that. Sometimes it's like you want to bring something practical up, and you don't want some guy bringing some intense theological issue that's not part of that conversation. But most times it's because they don't know the answers to them. They don't know how to answer questions that people have, so they discourage people or make people think like, what's the popular word used against like people who are really into theology? It's like, don't just think about head knowledge, right? Like, this is what the Bible tells us, because it puffs you up, right? And it's like it's misquoting stuff like that to tell people if they have any serious issues, or they have serious questions about the Bible, or they're seriously like weighing two things and it's bothering them, that for some reason they're thinking about is puffing themselves up, and they need to be more spiritual and not just care about these things. It's because you don't know how to answer the question. A lot of the problems I had, Arthur, that I was taking to like church leadership and stuff, were just issues that churches have debated and Christianity has debated for like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And now that I think about it, yeah, was I stupid sometimes? Sure. But it's like there wasn't one person who could genuinely answer those questions. There wasn't one person theologically aware enough that could sit down and be like, hey, I've wrestled with these two, but not just I've wrestled with it and I realized they're very difficult, but I wrestled with it, and here are some of the points from both sides, and this is how I reconcile them, and this is what gave me trouble, and this is what you look at, and this is a resource you can go to. None of that exists in those kind of churches, which is why they discourage those conversations. So, I mean, that's just the reality.
Yes. Major issue. Sorry, I'm reading a couple of comments in front of me.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and interact with the comments maybe.
I wish I could also pull comments to the screen, but
but you don't have that much power,
So Jack said, I've been more in the other side of the issue, Theology 24/7. So that's what really hit me from what you guys said. I have recognized that was an issue, and I believe I've rectified it to some point. Praise God. It's I would say it's an issue for people who are truly like they're excited about these things, and they're searching. And when you're thinking about super important things, especially when it comes to things in faith and about God, it's just things you want to talk about. So that's like a mature thing to be like, this is what I want to talk about, but I've realized this, or realized this might be too much or in the wrong context, and it's overbearing for some people, and I'll backtrack a little. I think that's like maturity.
Of course, yeah.
I think anything outside of the canon should never be spoken around non-believers.
Where'd you read that?
Edge
Oh,
of
here.
Truth said that.
I think anything outside the canon should never be spoken around non-believers. What?
I don't get it. Sorry, y'all.
Oh, okay, let me I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt here. I think what he's trying to say is that when Christians are having dialogue with each other and there's non-believers present, like, let's keep it at the essentials.
Yeah, that's what I read from it too.
Yeah. That's fine. By the way, happy wife, happy life is a general proverb, you can say. And I think I can biblically justify that by passages that speak about, it's like a terrible thing living with a woman who's nagging. Those sorts of comments you get in Proverbs. It's better to live in the corner of a roof than a wife. I'm just quoting Bible.
Preach.
Just what it says. The opposite is true too, by the way. There's guys who nag like crazy. They're absolutely annoying.
Yeah, nagging
individuals.
wife. I can't imagine having a nagging wife.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And there is a general truth in that your life will be better off if your wife is happy with you. Like, if your wife is not happy with you, man, you're constantly gonna have conflict in your home. That's a serious problem. And I think there is biblical truths in that. I don't think that fits in the category of what we're talking about in regards to weak sauce theology. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Tom, you don't have much to say.
I just know it's true in my heart.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one. That's another one. Yeah. So here's a crazy one.
Feel it's true.
Here's this is crazy. You will get into theological conversations with someone, and then they've hit the wall, right? They can't continue the conversation anymore, and then they say, "Well, it's what I believe. Like, I just know it's true in my heart." Or any variant of it. The Logos ad I put out on Instagram has some interesting comments underneath it. Somebody the other day wrote, "I don't need this technology stuff. I just need the Holy Spirit and my Bible." And I was very close to writing, "Please tell me the last time the Holy Spirit told you a Greek or Hebrew word in the Bible." Like, that those are silly comments. By the way, we got some bomb news to drop about Logos today. Tom, you know the news we're dropping, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You seem
or
like
people who say
things
like, by the way, or people who say things like if somebody's confessing a sin to you, let's say they're confessing adultery to you or something like that. Like, the worst thing you can say is, "It's okay, man. All sins are equal, even if you've stolen a gum from a store once. Like, the important thing is to confess it before God." It's like, no, they're not equal. They're both sins. They have vastly different consequences here on earth, and God judges them differently as well. And we know that because there are grounds for, removing someone from the body of Christ. And I don't think stealing gum is one of them, even if they've sinned.
That's right.
Or whatever they would steal back then, bananas or whatever, a fish, whatever it is. Right. So, there's different consequences to sin. So, you don't want to tell people that and take away from the seriousness of it. Or another one was doubting is the opposite of faith.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not true. Not true. Even though I've been using this troll recently from a Mormon. I follow this page called Ex-Mormon where they share for funny Mormon videos, and one of them was doubt your doubts. Like, if you're doubting, doubt your doubts. Well, that's not true, because we see it all over the Bible of the Psalms. You see this wrestling with God, the moments of doubt, moments of uncertainty. Yes. Right? So it's not, you don't have less faith if you doubt. It's actually very dangerous if you say that, because then if it comes to a point where someone's doubts have grown so big where they're starting to truly question their Christianity, or question their faith, then they'll just dump Christianity altogether.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of saying, hey, my doubts are maybe this is a level of doubt that I can't handle by myself, and I should talk to someone who's maybe wrestled with these things, or maybe there are answers that I can't figure out, or I could be looking at the Bible for my answers and completely reading the wrong text. It's stuff that aren't answering my questions. So I go to someone like Arthur. Hey, brother, I'm struggling with this, and I've been reading this passage, and he's like, why? That's not about that. That's about something else. Read this one. And I read it. And I'm like, oh my God, I had doubt, but now some of these
I need joy in my life, but I've been reading Job.
Yeah.
Like, bro.
I need clarity, but I've been reading Revelations.
I know. Shining Rivers says, what's the solution to these issues? Well, one of the solutions is to take theology seriously. And if you come across churches and individuals who you recognize aren't taking it seriously, I would say the first thing you should do is try to maybe change the immediate community you're in, because they respect you and love you, and you respect them and love them, and you want to bring that into that. But I'm not naive enough to think that that's always going to go well. Sometimes those churches will actually run people out who are theologically minded. They'll seriously run them out. They'll do everything in their power to not allow those people anywhere to speak about these issues within their context. So my thing is, start a book club. Start a little study at your house and invite the 3, 4, 5, 8, 15 people that are interested in those subjects. Sit there, study together, disciple one another, grow in that. If you're in a community where serious theology is always undermined, and then whenever you're trying to ask serious theological questions, it seems like you're trying to somehow cause issues. We've seen these things. Tom's experienced it more than I have, but I've seen plenty of it. And that would be the first thing to do. But if you realize nobody cares and nothing's changing and stuff like that, and people are really okay within their social club, and overly simplistic Bible passage quotations out of context are satisfying to people, thinking somehow they've latched on to the promises of God and stuff like that, then I'd say it's probably time to move on.
Yeah.
So I would say those are the solutions, if I can offer a couple. Yep, been there before. Was kicked out of Bible study group for being too mature.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff, man.
That's nuts. That'd be an interesting story.
That's like I've been watching like gambling videos, but I don't know anything about cards or anything like that. Like I have no idea how anything works. I literally can barely play like a slot machine. But I've been watching videos of like the casino owners coming and kicking out people who play on the tables, because I just
that's why you're the reason why those things started popping up on my algorithm.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, wow, and I'm pissed with the guy. I'm like, he's not counting cards, and it's like I don't even know how the game works. Like I wouldn't even know. Like someone could actually be counting cards in front of me, and I'd be like, oh, that's what it is. Like I don't know. But it's kind of like that, right? Like so, it's like what was I? Why was I bringing this up?
Because he said I've been kicked out of. I don't know. It's an analogy, so I'm waiting.
Yes. It was some kind of analogy, but it made more sense when I started it. I promise. It was like it was making sense in my mind, but it's kind of like that. Yeah, I guess I am making sense, guys. Please don't be a-holes, okay? I am making sense. It's actually making a lot of sense. You know why it's making sense? Because I feel like it's making sense, so it's making a lot of sense. But that's how it is. It's like when you become kind of like expert in something. And when you make people feel uncomfortable around you, you're getting kicked out.
But
So
no,
shining
Tom,
rivers.
Tom,
There you go.
let's push back a little bit here because I do think this has to do with character as well. I mean, look, you and I
Have you ever
know.
kicked someone out of your Bible studies?
Yes,
Ever?
yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Then-
Yeah, there's a
all
guy.
right, I'm with
There's a guy that showed up at our Bible study out of nowhere. He was a new guy, first time. And then he was like, "Hey, can I share something?" And we're like, "Cool, bro. Like, go for it. You know, share it."
Oh no.
And then dude got up and started lecturing us on how we're worshiping Satan and the Pope, and he's the Antichrist
Okay,
because we
yeah.
go to church on
That's fine.
Sundays. And then we're like, "Dude, get lost." Like we're not going to tolerate that.
Yeah, that's
so
different.
like
Yeah.
there isn't so with becoming an expert in something. There's the aspect of maturity in using your expertise to guide and lead and teach folks rather than use it as a club to smash them over the head with because some people are just not ready for it. And then you have the like what I would call the philosophy 101 syndrome where these people have just discovered something in theology. It's equivalent to a guy who goes to college first year, first semester, takes a philosophy 101 class, and now he's like walking around telling everyone how we don't know anything and the world doesn't really exist and all this stuff. It's like, bro, like deep, read a little deeper. It's some people come across theology like that. They'll find something out about theology, and then they think they're experts in that subject. Like I've shared this with people about some acquaintances I've had who are Calvinists who've spoken to me slowly, like trying to explain what Calvinism is, thinking that I don't know what it is, and that's the only in their mind, that's the only reason that they can think about why I would reject it. So they say to me slowly, like, it means this. And then I'll stop them and I'll say, I know what it means. I can probably teach it better than you. I just don't think it's true. But in their mind, again, they can't compute with that, right? And so like you get into these settings where somebody's at a Bible study and they've just recently discovered these things and they're kind of acting out. I think that's a very different situation because with the knowledge and becoming an expert, if you're actually becoming an expert in something, especially in theology, by the way, because good theology should always lead to worship. Sorry, I saw the no and it caught me off guard there, Tom.
Sorry.
So like good theology should always lead to worship and like
That's
transformation of life and heart. And so if I'm doing theology well and I'm growing in that, and it should be reflected on my character in person in regards to me, having conversations with my friends, and then guiding them, even ones that don't know these things. That's hilarious. Bro, stop trying to guilt trip people. Hey, hope you guys are doing well. Same videos have been popping up on my feed. How a man is gambling and the owner of the casino or the manager kicks them out and applies to the same thing. Shining head.
Yeah. So they're agreeing my analogy was
Yes.
spot on.
His analogy. Apologia Center. Analogia. You know that those videos? Technologia.
Yeah.
We should do one where we just go analogia.
Yeah. That's right.
Maybe that kind of stupidity can get popularity on our side.
Well, this is even the conversation that Bart Ehrman and your boy were having.
Sean
Forget his
McDowell,
name.
man.
Sean McDowell. Yeah. It's too many names in those two names. Like too many of those names exist like in different formats. Sean McDowell. It was funny because Bart Ehrman, who I think he's a slimy character. By the way, I think if I ever saw him, I'd be like, bro, I'm like, you might laugh at me for this, Arthur, but I would say this to him. I'd be like, brother, I think you think you're way smarter than you are. If I saw someone that like Alex Wilson, I'd be like, hey, brother, you're very smart, and I enjoy watching your content and challenges me. like just to show like the level, like it's not nothing out of pride. But he was talking to Sean McDowell, and he was saying things like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, and that's, I was there too. That's what I once believed. And then what he was essentially trying to say is like, once you start understanding what I'm trying to say, you won't hold to those positions.
Yeah.
And Sean did a great thing. He pushed back. He said, no. I definitely understand what you're saying. I just completely disagree
Yeah,
with
I
it.
think you're wrong.
Like, I disagree with your conclusions.
Yeah.
So it was like, dude, don't like freaking like, don't talk to us Christians like we're those kind of people. You know, like this goes back to like what you were saying, right? About like talking slowly to someone.
Yeah.
And like, okay, if I talk slowly, you'll understand it. It's like, don't talk to me like that, bro. And don't assume that because I haven't come to your conclusion that I must be like not understanding what you're saying. That's
Deficient.
super annoying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like very annoying.
Radar Apologetics in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a shout out. I don't know. I don't have like cool things that he does. He has like DJ equipment in front of him. So
just tell me, bro.
Tom.
Here,
hit
Radar,
him,
this
hit
is for
it.
you,
Do it.
brother.
Do it.
Welcome, brother.
Wrong button. Wrong button.
Oh, was that? Which one was that? Sorry.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Oh, here. We'll do this for Radar from now on. Ladies and gentlemen, Radar Apologetics Media. How's that?
Oh man, that's hilarious. So that's feasible, whatever we're talking about. Only issue I have is the always, because ideally good theology should always bring new growth, but we have spiritual enemies that can interfere with receiving truth. Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, we're not, if we were to qualify, and I struggle with this, but if I was to qualify and nuance everything I said, we'd never get through a sentence. Right, Tom?
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When engaging with agnostics or atheists on the problem of suffering, I'm finding using a dualistic framework provides good dialogue. Have you used that framework when engaging non-believers? Joshua, can you like very shortly explain to me what you mean by a dualistic framework? Because like what I'm thinking right now might, like, I don't want to sit here and talk for 5 minutes and then you're like, oh, that's not what I mean by dualistic framework. So tell me what you mean by dualistic framework and then I'll comment on that, okay? In all seriousness, this is not a good advertisement for church communities in general. Jerome, get over it, bro. Look, this statement is true. On the other end, let me just say this. Jerome's like a little brother to me, so I can talk to him like this. There's a statement that people often use, which is when you find the perfect church and join it, you will make it not perfect.
Ooh.
That's just the reality. Like it's not an advertisement for church communities. The issue is like being a part of one and growing in your faith and then helping others grow in theirs. And then God using other people for you to grow in your faith. And I do think there are church communities that do certain things very well. And maybe it could be the case that in a person's life, they're a part of a certain community for a limited amount of time because they need that growth in that area. And they're going to move on to a different community after that. Like that's pretty possible. So yeah, I like if the thing is that I don't want you guys, and specifically to comment on Jerome's comment here, is that I don't want you guys to have analysis paralysis of like sitting there and then trying to find the most perfect kind of church or whatever like that, and then just never ending up at a church. That's definitely not what God intends and wants for us. So find the church, just don't go to the Westminster Abbey with the woman.
Everything doesn't have to be like theologically heavy all the time for that church to be a solid church and solid theological church. Yeah. Like if you're the kind of guy that's like, the Bible studies have been good, but then they had a break and did a couples event where they said jokes. And then, like, if that's bothering you, it's like, bro, like, yeah, you wouldn't even last in our church, and we have like apologists and theologians and things of that sort. Like, sorry, like, calm down. There's gonna be moments. There's lightheartedness. There's even in a church setting, there's things that are like that. It's just, man, like, I don't know how people want, like, I can't live in a scenario at church where it's always heavy like that. Where it's always like that kind of conversation.
Yes.
Sometimes I just want to walk to someone and be like, hey, man, you look good today. No homo. And like, that's what I want my church conversation with that.
Pause, man. They told me to say pause. Can't say that, I
pause.
guess. Like, we're going to get flagged, I guess. Some of y'all explain to me what you mean by that. Right?
But Arthur, Jerome is right in the sense, I know he's being a little sly with his comment, but he is right in a sense because, like, brother, like, it is a lot of the church communities around us like this. Like, I can't even say it's like it's this problem where they don't want serious theology is an exception. Like, this seems to be the actual, like, generalization. This is what me and Nick, who was it? Me and who were talking? Who was talking to me about this? Someone was telling me. Arnold was telling me, and I agreed with this. So shout out Arnold.
Wow.
He said
somebody actually agreed with Arnold. It's a miracle.
He said something to the extent of, like, I think you can generalize as long as that's generally what's happening. And I know you think that, but I had never, like, put it into those words in my mind, because where we talk about sometimes I overly generalize and things of that sort, and everything is not that way. And I agree with that when it comes to, like, my personal judgments on things where a lot of people could be disagreeing or thinking otherwise. But when it comes to something like a lot of churches don't do serious theology, and if I say something like that, or I can even qualify by saying, like, generally, like, a lot of churches don't do theology well. Like, I think that's a fair generalization. And so, like, yeah, Jerome, I would say, like, that's probably true. I don't know many of the churches, and not to like unnecessarily cause drama or whatever, but even in, like, the like, in our community, in the Armenian evangelical community, I don't know many of them that do serious theology. Now I do know some, but even their theology can be weird, right? So, like, a church can say, no, we do serious theology, but then their serious theology is like if you came with anything different than what they believe, they would, like, spiral. So it's like, yeah, you do serious theology, seriously wrong theology. That's what you do. And so, yeah, it is difficult, but that's why, like, I think the solution to this, at least in my community, is like, hey, come to Anchor Church. We do theology well, and
see
if another church does it,
see how I snuck in that promotion. See that? Come to Anchor Church. Speaking of Anchor Church, the worship team at Anchor Church is going to lead an amazing event that's coming up called Praise with Reason. It's a night of worship and apologetics. Tom's leading the worship there with the worship team, and they're a good band. They lead worship well.
They're okay.
And
you have, like, the best worship team in at least a 3-mile radius. Calm down.
Yeah, no problem with it. I believe it.
I was trying to make a bigger claim, but then there's Grace Community Church this way. There's Shepherd of the Hills that way. There's that Asian mega church that I've never heard of that you were telling me that they probably have good worship.
So if you want to attend the event, go to apologiacenter.com/praisewithreason. Tickets are $60. You can even, if you know people in this area, you can even buy tickets for them, and then tell them to come. So,
guys, if $60, you can meet all these people. There's no extra fees. But if you pay $80, you can take a picture with Pisabi if you want. That's just throwing it out there. So if you want to give a little,
no, he's just making stuff up. But
we should do that though, Arthur. We should charge VIP tickets, and then the VIP tickets have less, like, advantages than the regular tickets.
You get to sit in a corner alone. You get to watch on the TV in a breakout room. You're not in the main hall.
You're in the
Michael
VIP
Jones.
hall in the back.
Michael Jones will yell at you.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, look, we're really excited for this event, guys. Make sure you register, come join us. If you got friends here in the Southern California area, look, in the Valley, stuff like this that really doesn't happen. And so we're trying to really push for events like this. And we're trying to do apologetics in a different sort of kind of vibe, sort of way, where it's not just heady things, right? Like we want to appropriately and properly align our hearts to this as well. As a matter of fact, we have a little promo that we'd like to play for you guys for the event.
I didn't know that.
What do you mean? You didn't know what?
I didn't know there's a promo that we're gonna play.
Well, I just decided I'm going to play it.
Oh.
How do you get rid of this comment section? It's so weird.
So
I mean, Instagram is so weird when it comes to like the browser. But whatever. Here we go. Big shout out to our very good friend Nick Quint for helping us out with this.
To love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. On the one hand, we have a distinct affirmation of the goodness of godly emotion. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart. We are emotional creatures. Our hearts are made to live lives of love for our God. Emotion, therefore, is a sacred and good part of being human. We were created to love and to praise our God. But emotion is not the only part of being human. Scripture reminds us that we're also to love the Lord our God with all of our soul, our intellect, our minds. God cares about how we logically and rationally engage with Him and with one another. Thus, to demote praise or reason is to deny a foundational aspect of being a Christian. Rather than deny who God has called us to be, we invite you to reflect boldly and fully about who God is. At the Praise with Reason conference, we are here to worship, to love, and to learn about all that God has called us to be in Christ. That is, after all, why we are all here.
Wow. Shout out Mr. Quint.
Mr. Quint on that voiceover and editing game. Sharp. Thank you very much for that. So really excited for this event, guys. If you're again in the area, go ahead and make sure to sign up for it. Love to see you guys there. Come by and hang out with us. Now, with that said, I got another big announcement. Y'all ready for this? Who's ready for the big announcement, man? Drop a 1 in the comment. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited I could preach the word right now. Come on. Now. Drop a 1 in the comment section. If less than 5 people drop the 1, I'm not going to share it. Just going to turn this stream off and go home. It's 19 of you guys watching this. I got some fire news, man. Got an email. It's like semi-final, but it would be final. It would be final. But I want to let you guys know. I'm so excited about it. I'm letting you guys know before I'm letting a lot of other people know. Jerome says, "Lol, you actually adapted his praise with reason line." Because Nick's gonna get it, once we have money. We're gonna hire Nick. Right now, I'm paying Nick the way I'm paying Tom. with love and grace and my presence.
That's right.
We're gonna start paying Nick to come up with like taglines and stuff for us. He's back. Okay. You got 6 ones. I need more than that. I got to know you guys are actively participating here. Right? People just left.
Let me know when you're ready to announce it.
Okay. I'm ready. Ready to announce it. Okay. We are in the final stages of developing for you guys an Apologia Center study bundle with Logos Bible software. Okay, so here's what that's going to include, right? It's going to include all the books that I have in my recommended book list or their equivalent. The reason why I say or their equivalent is because some of the publishers might not give us the discount that we're looking for. Because the discounts that we have, Tom, listen to this. 89.45% off. So 90% off.
Bruh.
Tom's just not going to speak to me. He's just going to say,
That's absolutely incredible.
bro,
No, seriously.
like we're looking at, so one of the things I told them is let's develop 2 packages. Let's develop a package that's like between $100 to $200. And then let's develop another one. I said that's maybe like $250 to $500. And the ones they've sent me, and I'm gonna go back and forth with them, add a couple of books. I might have to remove a couple of books. But the ones they sent me, you guys, I think. Let me actually put it up so I'm not preliminary wise. Here's what we're looking at when it comes to the amounts. We're looking at two bundles, silver and gold. Silver, a $1,342 bundle. We're gonna sell it for $145.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
90% off. The gold, we're looking at a $3,800 bundle for $399. 90% off. And you're gonna get an entire commentary series in the gold bundle, which is the pillar commentary series, which is like majority of that $400 can be just the pillar. I was actually looking at the silver, and there's 3 books sitting on my shelf right now. If you just bought those 3 books, it'd be $150, and they're in that bundle. They're in the silver bundle. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, the fact that these guys have done this, and again, we're going back and forth. We're gonna add some stuff. We're gonna probably remove some stuff until I'm very comfortable with like all the books that I these are books that I really have enjoyed and have been good for my spiritual development. And it has apologetics and theology in there. There's books on hermeneutics and exegesis. So I've tried to have, again, a wide-ranging book selection. It is maybe apologetics heavy on one side, but one of the things that you'll definitely know when we launch it officially, and we'll launch it officially in April, one of the things that you'll definitely know is every single one of the books that's going to be in each of those bundles. But I'm just shocked, like the fact that we can partner with them and be able, like, these are books I've recommended to people in all these years, and then now that we can partner with Logos and say we're offering these books to you, and we're offering them to you for 90% off. It blows my mind, bro. It absolutely blows my mind. The pillar commentary set on its own is really expensive. Just that by itself is worth it. Yeah, tell me about it, Jack. Is Mere Christianity in it? I don't think so. I'm not sure. But dude, you can find Mere Christianity for relatively cheaply. Like, it's not.
Amazing.
So it's
Great
good.
news.
Yeah, man, I'm so pumped about this. Hey, Seb's in the house, bro. Seb hasn't been around for a while, Tom. What's up, fellas?
Man.
Still have yet to see Arthur and Tom slow strumming a cringe Christian song. What kind of Protestants are you? Ladies and gentlemen,
Brother, don't get me started.
Tom.
Oh, I'm off tune here. Sorry, guys. Oh my god, yeah, this is nasty. I have to tune this thing. Sorry, guys.
This guy can't even slow strum a guitar. He's fake Protestant.
That's way out of tune.
Mere Christianity is.
If I do that, I'm just gonna. If I play it out of tune, I'm just gonna sound like a Armenian apostolic priest singing.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Sorry.
Seb.
Is that why you are here?
Hey, man. Careful, because if you shoot, we're gonna shoot back, Seb.
Yeah.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. Careful with that. Jerome said, mere Christianity is 10 pounds. Jack said, it's not that heavy. Brits and Americans having a hard time communicating with one another. Gev's in the house. Gev said,
"Bro, I got that.
You just got it. Oh gosh,
that's great. I didn't know who you were talking about.
Bro, I just joined the live and I had to sit through Tom Steyer ad. I don't know who Tom Steyer
is. He's a billionaire progressive running for governor in California.
Oh, I saw that guy. Oh man, I had to add one of his ads ran on my Instagram today. I was like, "Who is this guy, man? Get a life." Hey, as long as he's paying me his money to run his ads, I know my audience is smart enough to ignore him.
Yeah, honestly,
so it's all good.
Your money for sure.
Huh?
I said we'll take your money for sure.
Yeah, we'll take his money, and then we'll tell our audience, "Don't vote for him." It's great. It's a win-win, bro. Legitimately very excited for the book release. Don't say stuff like that. People are gonna think that I wrote a book. Well, the book collection release. Yeah, so it's the partnership with Logos Bible Software, guys. Baiting Americans into making these comments is so easy. Seth, thanks, fellas. Love the dig on the apostolic priests. Off tune. Oh man, could you imagine if I was an apostolic priest and I had to sing, Tom?
Yeah, I mean they do have a tough job, I gotta say.
Yeah,
Some of them are good.
But they do train. Like if I were, then they'd actually train me, and my voice would probably be half decent. I'd be off tune just a couple of times.
But that's the thing. Like imagine you're trying to become a priest and you're like you suck at singing, and they're like, where do we put?
It's not your calling. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, at that point, like you gotta just do something else.
Yeah, be a deacon or something. Oh gosh. So yeah, guys. I mean, dude, I have the list of this like sitting in front of me. I'm looking at it. Man.
So can you explain how like Logos works generally? Like, is it so? Because like when I'm on their website, I don't see these.
What website, man? What website? You gotta download the app, homeboy. Gotta download the app.
What's up?
That's how it works. Gotta download the app.
No. I'm saying when I'm looking at their subscriptions and stuff like that, it's just like it's different things. It's not like a gold, silver. Is this specific to you?
No, yes. This is specific to me. So basically, we'll give you the promo code, and then when you go and purchase through that promo code, you're gonna get this bundle. The stuff on their website you're seeing is gonna be their bundles that they're providing. And they have many bundles, by the way. Right?
Yeah,
they have all sorts of different prices, a bunch of different bundles. You have like denomination specific bundles with Logos, where you get like, you're like, I'm Lutheran, right? Like you get all the texts that Lutherans read, and And
I
so,
wonder what all inclusive would be. Like if you get
dude, the
everything in
all-inclusive
Logos.
package is insane. That's like the scholar package.
What does that go for?
I'll pull it up right now.
Sheesh. They have a confusing website, bro. They need Arnold. They need a better website designer.
No. There's a lot. There's
just a lot happening there.
Yeah.
No, Andy,
See you, Andy. See you. Go sleep, brother. Don't listen to this
Leave
guy.
the phone on so we don't lose viewers. Just
Yeah,
mute it
bro.
or something.
Just go. Here, the ultimate package. It's called the ultimate.
The ultimate.
You ready for this? Are you ready
Let's
for
go.
this?
Let's go.
Okay. You're gonna trip out, by the way.
Oh gosh. Whoa. Okay, I was not expecting that. Honest to God.
By the way,
maximum 4,000.
By the way, this is like, because I'm a Logos like user and stuff. Like that would be like, you get some off. Now for me, it'll be less than this, obviously, but like not too much. But do you know how much books this is, bro? Like it contains everything. Like,
bro,
you might look at it.
Bro,
The thing is that you might look at it and say $19,000. That's nuts, right? And it
is
yearly?
Or this is
No. This is, you pay for the
forever.
library.
Okay.
No, you pay for the library. But like, if you actually look at what's included in there and the commentary series that you have, and if you just look at all the commentary series, because each commentary series, you're paying $300 to $600 to get a commentary series. And so it's like all that stuff is included in there. Just to buy here, there's a breakdown here, Tom. Let me show you. This is like, so it says English Bibles. See that?
Yeah.
Just the different kinds of English Bibles is $800 expense. Because it's got all those different Bibles in there. Like so people go like, look at this. Biblical commentaries. It's a $80,000 worth. Like if you were to buy them individually, it'll cost you 80 grand.
Wow. And this is all included.
Yeah, I mean,
Man.
not included in my package, by the way. I'm just saying this is included in the highest package you can get from Logos is the ultimate. Look at this, Old Testament studies. Now you're saving a lot of money, right? Like, because this is in the hundreds of thousands that you're paying $20,000 for. Now some of you guys are going to trip out and be like, I'm just like,
that's insane.
keep
Jesus would be disappointed
at what?
that we're spending all this money on books.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I don't think so.
I'm completely joking. I think this is great stuff.
Some people say that stuff, by the way. Again, that's now I don't know anybody that owns this package. I know certain scholars that Logos has worked with have had this package because I've known their assistants and stuff like that. And if you're writing books and doing things of that sort, like, these things are important because you essentially have an entire library at your fingertips. Like, seriously, you don't have to go anywhere. You just, so it says if you buy them separately, it's going to cost $302,000. That's a house, guys.
How much?
$302,587.
That's insane.
And so that getting that for $20,000 makes sense. But
so
we're not getting people into that. I don't want you guys.
19,200 books are included. If a book weighs an average of 1.5 pounds, that's 28,000 pounds of books. 28,800. So that's 14 tons, roughly the weight of a large truck. In real world terms, this, by the way, ChatGPT.
Why are you talking about how? Why are you talking about
someone
how?
asked how much does it weigh?
Bro, they're messing around, man. They're talking about like British pounds.
I'm just saying that's how much it would weigh. You have 28,000 pounds of books. It's pretty intense, bro. I feel like they should put that up. Like if I was Logos, if you're listening right now to poor old me as a marketing somewhat expert, I would say up there you put that is 28,800 pounds of physical books. And I would say which equates to, and put a large 18-wheeler there and say that's how much information you're getting.
Jack, by the way, Jack said that for him, it's less. Now, for me, it's even less than that. So if you look at Jack's comment, because Jack already has Logos, so he says for him,
Who's
it's
Jack?
18. Just Jack J8B7X. It says for him, it's 18,339. He says for me, so I'm missing a bunch of them. If you guys already have Logos, they will prorate this. If you already had these books, they're like included in the package. So I just looked it up, logged in into my account because the one I was looking at was not logged in, like if I was purchasing it. I can buy that package, Tom, for $15,265. That means the library I have, by the way, right now is worth how much? Tom, are you okay?
Were you asking me?
Yeah, I said the website we looked at said it was 19,000, right? And then it says right now, if I were to get that same package, I'd have to pay 15,200. That means how much is the package I have right now? Why are you so confused?
I don't know what you're asking. This is really confusing me.
Hey, chat, can you guys help Tom out with his math?
I don't know what you're asking. This is a weird question.
Okay. Someone help him out.
Bro.
He said, wow, how big is your library? I think I have 4,800 books in my library.
Oh, you have 4,000. So you're saying how much would that weigh?
No, man, I'm saying how much is my library worth? And the answer is about $4,000.
That's good. It's pretty good, guys. You're getting a decent deal. You could go for the ultimate, but if you want to be cheap about it, you can go for the Apologia Center discount.
Now, I should say this to people that it took me many years to do that. The original package I actually got, you guys, the original package of Logos I got, I paid $900 for. And it was Logos 5 bronze package, I think. It was either bronze, yeah, I think it was bronze. And that was Logos 5. And I'm looking right now. Look at this. There's a book here, Nature's Case for God, A Brief Biblical Argument by John Frame. J. Warner Wallace, books by J. Warner Wallace. I'm just looking at apologetics books. Fine-Tuning of the Universe, The Quest for God in Science and Theology, Alistair McGrath. The Grutais, Christian Apologetics, 2nd edition. Philosophical Foundations for the Christian Worldview. Just those two books are like $90 together. And you're getting them for 90% off. Yeah, I can't wait until we tweak this properly, and then I can get it into your hands and give you guys the code and say, have at it, enjoy it. So I'm very excited about this. Oh, Jeff says I can get it for $14,926. What was my number? Oh, 15,265. You beat me, Jeff. Well done. Jeff knows what's up, man. Look at that. He's got a bigger library than I do. He says $24,000 without the 20% off. This is true. Yeah, we've been through the saga that Tom doesn't know math. That's true. Remember when Tom said Arthur is actually 41? Oh, sort of.
Hey, don't get me started on that.
On what?
On the 0 being a different age than 1. Don't get me started on that. I'm not in
sure
the
there's
mood. I'm not
reasons
in the
for it,
mood
Tom.
to cook right now. I'm not in the mood to cook right now.
Who are you gonna cook?
Whoever
Hey,
said
should we
that.
drop in the link and have a couple of people call in?
Yeah, man. Let's have call. We got 19 people in here. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Hey,
Don't be
guys,
shy.
call in. Hang out with us for a little bit more before we head out.
Call in. Call in. Call in.
Yeah. Why don't you guys be a man?
Let's go. Jack, call in. I want to know who you are.
I know who Jack is. I figured out who Jack was based on the question about systematic theology. Like immediately figured out who Jack was based on that.
I have my
question.
suspicions, man.
Like that. If you want, you can text me and then I can tell you.
I just texted you.
No. You got to tell me who your suspicion is.
Oh. That's funny. I was right. See, you got a smart friend, bro. Just because I don't know your
we just had
cost of
someone buy
your-
it. We just had someone buy a ticket for the event.
Nice. Exciting.
Very good. Very good. Bro, seriously.
What are we gonna do?
Oh man, what are we gonna do, bro? What are we gonna do?
Is no one calling in? You sissies, call in for 5 minutes. You're all sissies, man.
Yeah, like we're actually giving you guys a chance to call in and talk to us, and we're not even charging you for it.
Call in. We'll anyone calling in? Doesn't look like it.
No, I haven't gotten a call.
I wish I could just call in right now, like ask other questions. I wish I could call and ask myself questions right now, and see what kind
Why
of
don't you ask
wisdom I
it?
would-
We'll see if we can answer it.
Nah, because I want to ask myself. I want to ask myself in the third person.
Go ahead.
I want to call
it.
in. No, I'm not gonna do that.
I want to see Tom disagreeing with Tom. Be great. Tom's super confused individual. See, like we need to change the thing. We need to be like Muslims are horrible, and
Yeah, and then a bunch of people would call in.
I just remembered Michael Jones just released one of his videos. These things are golden. Oh yeah, Avery's on live right now. It says Allah is not God, and he's in a chef's outfit.
That's funny.
That'll get people to call in.
We should do that with you. We should have you dress as a Muslim man one of these days and say why I converted from Christianity to Islam.
Bait and switch.
And then just completely switch on him.
So
That would be so good. Guys, who's a fan of that? Oh, that's good. These are so good.
this word
But
is
honestly, I like
clear. And so
God
this
logic's
verse of the
better.
Quran is saying the Quran is a clear book. And this verse is saying the Quran is clear. And this verse is saying the revelations of the Quran are clear. And this verse is saying the revelations of the Quran are clear. And this verse is saying the Quran is a clear book. And this verse is saying the Quran is a clear book. And this verse is saying the Quran is a clear book. And this verse is saying the verses of the Quran are perfected and fully explained. And this verse is saying the Quran is a detailed explanation of all things. So what have you learned today about the Quran? That the Quran is clear, its verses are fully explained and detailed. No! Why would you think? No, the Quran cannot mean it is entirely clear, because Surah 3:7 says that some parts are elusive, and so unclear. And so when it says in several places that it is clear, it must mean that it is only partially clear. You don't see how. See, it's because there are parts that are difficult to explain in our Quran. So we just say those are the unclear parts and only Allah knows their meaning. So we don't have to do the hard work of trying to explain the unclear parts of our clear Quran. It's because that's why. So this word is clear. And so
Have you seen the original guy doing it?
Yeah. I watched that guy's
So
videos.
That's so funny.
So this
$26,000,
clear.
What?
brother. Come on, that's way too much.
Since 2011.
Still though, man, 26.
15 years. 15 years. What does that average out to
gosh.
be?
Hold on, let me go to my brain. Let me ask.
Let me
typing
ask.
right now.
Let me ask my brain. $26,000 in 15 years, Tom.
That's gonna be approximately $1,733 a year.
That's actually not that
33
bad.
cents. That's about, I don't know, something about $144 a month. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I won't be wrong.
But Tom, like let's legitimately think about this, right?
$144 a month on books, bro.
Bro, listen
That's
to
a
me.
lot.
Listen to me. Look at me like a man. Brace
What kind of
yourself,
money
or
does
I will
this guy have?
question
What
you.
kind of money does this guy have?
Brace yourself, or I will question you, and you will answer me. Are you ready?
All right, go ahead.
You have your calculator open?
Yes, which
Okay.
is just my brain.
Yeah. No, seriously. I'm gonna give you some data. Okay?
Okay.
And this is gonna make you feel super guilty. You particularly. I'm doing this to make you feel
don't
guilty.
go the coffee route.
Okay,
and
look at
stuff,
me.
man.
Look at me. Somebody
So
buys
stupid.
Starbucks coffee 4 times a week. See, he left. He left, ladies and gentlemen. Man, if you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. You see that? If you can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen.
And by the way, Starbucks sucks.
Hey,
Nobody
you're the guy
likes
with the Starbucks cup
Disgusting.
in your hand all the time. Do the calculations. I'm telling you to do the calculations. Okay? What you personally, every time you buy Starbucks for yourself, not for your wife.
I don't buy Starbucks.
Just yourself.
It's disgusting.
Okay. I see you drinking
I buy
Starbucks
more
all the
expensive
time.
coffee, which kind of defeats
Okay.
my point. But yes,
Okay. So let's say somebody's average coffee is $5-6. $6, let's say.
cheap. That's cheap. Might as well.
Okay, let's just say 6. I'm being nice. And they buy it.
$7.50.
Okay, $7.50.
Okay.
Okay, they buy it 4 times a week.
Okay.
Okay. What is that on a monthly basis?
Let me tell you.
No, come on, seriously.
Come on.
We got more.
$7.05 is
$5
approximately $21,996 in a 15-year period.
So this
yeah,
man
I would be
bought.
spending more. Yes.
Some of you guys spend more on coffee instead of investing into
Yeah,
your
but
faith.
what you don't understand, brother. This is a categorical error. Just kidding. I just like saying that.
Yeah, it's a category error. Number one, it's not a categorical error. It's a category error.
Okay.
But
yes.
still.
If you say category error, in the middle of a debate, you'll win because they'll have no idea. They'll just be like, "Damn, like he's probably smarter." I guarantee you. Try that next time. But
like
is
that's
he also buying coffee? Now,
maybe he has the money to buy coffee.
Okay, let me.
I'm just
tell you what I
saying.
was gonna say, brother. You gotta let me finish here. You gotta
Finish, bro. Finish.
Like
you know what? I'll drink my drink.
You're like one of those debaters that doesn't let the other guy finish.
Go for it. Hurry up.
$26,000 this man spent on books. God bless him. Okay. But if he's also spending money on coffee and other things, that's
it's
a lot of money.
$46,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you know what the difference is? If I could get a little crude here, that coffee you drink, that pastry you eat from Starbucks, you know what happens to it? Well, I don't want to give you
Go ahead.
visuals, but you know what happens to it. But the books you buy on Logos Bible software remain with you in your computer.
Yeah.
No, look. I just wanted to make a point here, by the way, in regards to finances. Sometimes we look at numbers and we go, "Oh man, that's a huge number." Whatever. Oh, you have a library that's worth this much, or X, Y, and Z, whatever it may be. Yes, you can call in. The link is there. You're
Call
more than
in,
welcome
bro.
to call in.
And no one can talk about me or to me or ask me questions anymore on this chat when the call-in link is live. Be a man or a woman and call in, or don't ask me anything, or don't say you're gonna kill me in a debate.
So I was saying, often people will look at it and say, "Oh man, that's a large number," but like we all are spending money like that on various things throughout the day. You know, again, I'm saying a cup of coffee. So 4 cups of coffee you've gotten from Starbucks per week for the last 15 years equates you to having a $20,000 library in Logos Bible software.
Yeah, this is you're just thinking wrong about this, but it's okay, brother. It's very very wrong thinking about this.
How am I thinking wrong about this?
Because the coffee is always made to be the bad thing.
Okay,
but what if I told you? Hold on, let me tell you. No, don't. Let me say it. Alhamdulillah, let me say it. What if that $7 of coffee is helping you to be productive enough to make thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars?
Blessed be the name of the Lord. Then you can drink your coffee and have your Logos Bible software.
Don't use the coffee an example. Use something else. Use like Netflix.
Okay, Netflix.
Yes,
what do you want to say?
I'm with you.
Now
you have
okay. You have Netflix. You have Hulu. You have Disney Plus. You have whatever. And doing that. Now I'm gonna be a little shameless here, Tom.
As if you're not ever.
No. Come on, bro. Don't even go there.
Shocking.
I'm gonna be a little shameless here. Like, you know, if we get 200 people to support us with $25 a month on Patreon, like this ministry will be almost fully funded. Just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. That's $5 a week. Let's just say $20. $5 a week for 4 weeks. $20 a month, and then we just need like large numbers of people to be supporting this ministry. And we need the support, by the way. Just put that out there for those that might not know that. Go to patreon.com/Apologia Center.
If everyone in the United States of America, 365 million people, gave me $1, just $1 out of yo, that's all I'm asking for. $1 out of your earnings, I would be $365 million.
I'm gonna bring in Carl here. What's up, my guy? What's going on, bro? You called in.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
What's up, brother?
How are you?
So I'm good. How are you, Tom?
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. So I heard you guys talking about the Logos, and I wanted to maybe give people options if they don't know about them yet, because I don't remember when it was. It was like a year ago, right? When they had bronze was on like a super discount, and then you had a code.
At a promotional, yeah, that was 10% off, yeah.
Yeah, so I used every single code I could, and it still ended up being like $1,400 for the platinum package. And I didn't want to. I could have paid it all at once, but I don't like to just drop thousands of dollars on something initially, because you kind of have that buyer's remorse. Kind of, you feel like this is too much money. Is it going to be useful? Am I going to use all of it? So I did pay like half of it, and then they told me, the guy on the line, because I called in, they told me, oh, if you don't want to pay it all at once, you could do payments. So if like with your package, the ultimate package, you said what about like $400 or $500, right?
It was $399. It's not even
like
$400. Yeah.
Yeah, under 400. So
Yeah.
if it's hard for someone and they really want the package and they see the books and everyone's gonna find value in this. So you can do a payment plan, which makes it a lot easier. There is a little bit of interest, but let's say 1 month you can pay $100, then you reduce what you owe. The interest isn't like 30%. It's not like your a credit card, so it's pretty reasonable. And if you call in, they do try to help as much as they can. They're very friendly. I mean, they're Christians, so
That's good,
um,
huh?
th that's an option.
Well,
But
the other
just
thing
the
is,
pillar commentary by
by the
itself,
way,
yeah,
or what they can do, they can do exactly what you're saying in regards to payment plans and going to what Tom's talking about. They can fast from coffee or whatever it is that they partake in for a couple of months and pay off the whole thing and be fine with it. It
yeah,
spiritually would
100%.
be
It's
beneficial
not
to
that
them.
much.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Now,
saying for people who always complain about this stuff, because there are those. You can say, you know what? I'm going to refuse to eat McDonald's
yeah.
once a week.
Or cancel your subscription and not watch Dune and be able to buy more books and enjoy them instead of
You could do that.
spending money on
Absolutely. You could
HBO or
absolutely do
Netflix.
that.
Don't
You
knock
could
the coffee.
absolutely do
Now,
that.
Carl, I have a question for you, brother.
Bro, it seems like you have
is
a
it
thing with
worth it
coffee, bro.
Is money even worth it? Like, is it worth getting this Apologia Center package, considering the fact that Mr. Apologetic himself has certain biases that are going to exist in the books that we're able to access?
Oh,
Now,
that's interesting. I'm going to, dude, let me just tell you something before Carl answers. None of this stuff is in regards to like pushing you towards a non-reformed perspective. Just to put that out there.
When you do buy the package, you can choose where you're coming from, like what denomination you're coming from.
No, but
So
you can't do
I
that when
chose
you can't do that when you're
no,
picking the Apologia Center package. Yeah, just to put that out
or
there.
any package. It's not just the Apologies. Any package Logos
Yeah.
has, you can't choose. But you go through the books and you see what you like. But I don't think the books that Arthur recommends are leaning one way or the other. Most of them, I don't know if I remember correctly, but that there's a 5 views book that's included, which is
Yes,
telling you all the
we have a
views.
bunch of
So
5.
it's not
We
like,
have a number of 4 or 5 used books. Bro, come on, man. We have John Frame books in this package. Like
yeah,
seriously.
that's one of my favorites. So
Like
I have a big, okay, I don't have a big Logos library, but I have a decent
yeah.
Logos library. I'm still gonna pick up the package. And what's good about Logos is if you already have the book, they're not gonna charge you a second time for the same thing. So
so you get
because
a
I
bigger
have the pillar
discount.
commentary, yeah, like if I buy the one with the pillar commentary set, I'm not gonna pay for it because I already
You
have
already
it. But
have the pillar
I do still
commentary.
get, yeah. And what they
That's
do
cool.
is they still apply the 90% discount on the other books I don't have. So even if you have Logos, it's worth getting it. So you're filling in the books that you don't have at 90% off. So
Yeah.
it only makes sense to get it. And if you don't have it, this is a great place to start. You're gonna have a lot of stuff.
I think that
If you can
when
afford
I
it,
sat
get the
down
pillar set.
when I sat down with the Logos reps to kind of come up with this idea, my heart it was actually very interesting. What?
Dolphin just said something so funny.
Who said that?
Dolphin.
The
just
books
said
Arthur
the books
recommends
Arthur
lead to
recommends lead
Hebrew
to
Israelite view. That's hilarious. So when we sat down and we talked together about this, it was interesting because they didn't know I had a recommended book list. They were just like, hey, like, what would be the thing that you would give your audience? And I said, hey, you guys, I have a recommended book list I give people. And let me send you that because people keep asking me, and then this would be a good way for them to get it like super cheap all at once instead of having to constantly pay. Again, like I said, I have the Christian Theology reader sitting behind me, the Blackwell Companion book. That's a $50 book. Like I've paid $50 for that book, and then like we're able to put that in here for 90% off. And so, but we sat there and I throw them the idea, and they were like, "Okay, now give us all the books. We're gonna go to the publisher, see if we can get it. If the publishers don't give it to us, what we'll do is we'll replace it with equivalents, books like it written by different authors and stuff like that. But like, there's a bunch of Francis Schaeffer books in there, who I don't necessarily have in my recommended books, but we have it in the package because, like, I love Francis Schaeffer. I think it's great stuff to read Francis Schaeffer.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So, like, again, we're giving quality stuff. I'm just super excited for this, man. It's because I get to recommend this to my friends and say, guys, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, you use this in your it's interesting, Carl. So I don't have a bias, and it's not theologically leaning. Let me say that, Carl. Tom's making random stuff up. He's becoming an accuser of the brethren here. You know, the adversary. You use Logos.
Adversary.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Did you hear that? Yeah. You caught that. It took like 4 seconds to catch it, but you did.
That's pretty
You got there
harsh.
finally. It's okay. Carl, you're not in ministry. You're not like that. That's not what your life is. But you're a very good student of the Bible. You love the Lord. You love His church. You study God's word. You use this stuff in just a normal Bible study on a Thursday night.
Yeah, I use this on my own too, though. If I'm I have like 30 minutes. It's another thing, guys. You don't have to spend 2-3 hours sitting and studying something. You just need 30 minutes. So, what's that guy's name from Grace Church? Abner Chow. Abner Chow said, all you need is 30 minutes, 15 minutes to do your daily Bible reading, and then 15 minutes to study something in depth. And Logos, before it was hard for me because I go to like Bible Hub, I go to 5 different places to try to find something. But when I got Logos, I just log on to Logos. They even have this Go box, and if you get the subscriptions now, there's AI, which it's not like ChatGPT where it pulls from random places. You know where this AI is pulling it from. It's
the entire Logos library.
So now it's I don't know. I feel like it's better to get it on the subscription because you're paying like $12 or $13 a month, and if you read their what they say online, after 2 years, if you've paid for it, you get to own the resources and the feature set that the current Logos comes with. So when I got Logos 10, I had to buy my feature set and I had to buy the resources at the same time. Where with this one, you get to make payments. You get to buy. They call books resources. So the IVP backgrounds commentary is a resource, but it's a book, but they just call it resources. You get to keep that stuff. If you buy this package and you decide not to pay for Logos subscription, you still have access to those books in the Logos app. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, yeah, this is the most useful thing I have. I use it on my iPad, on my MacBook, on my PC. I use it everywhere. It's just, it makes Bible study easier. And you can, there's different things where you can like match a panel with like scripture. So you have your commentary right next to the scripture. And as you're reading the scripture, the commentary scrolls with you.
Yeah.
So that way you're reading something and you want to go a little bit more in depth, you can look at the pillar commentary. You can look at, it depends on how many commentaries you have, but I think there's more than one included in your package. I think there's like full Bible commentary.
So we have the pillar as a set, and then there's commentaries that are more like background commentaries. So like we have the 2 IVP Bible background commentaries, Old Testament, New Testament, and then a couple of other commentaries like that.
Yeah, so you would use like pillar, you would have IVP like on the bottom. On it's really hard to explain this unless I could show it to you. And then you can have your full Bible on one side, and that way you're reading the background. You're reading with these the pillar commentary is only New Testament. So if it's Greek, they'll even give you the breakdown. Like you don't have to know Greek, and they'll help you understand what's happening in the Greek. If you don't understand the words, you can just have Google define them for you. But and then your vocabulary gets better. But yeah, it's I think everyone, if you're serious about your study, you're gonna definitely benefit from. And I'm not paid by Logos. I don't work for Logos.
Or Apologia Center.
Software that changed my life.
Or Apologia Center.
Honestly, you should be, bro. You should.
I know, huh? Dude, they should hire you.
Sales pitches.
I got to talk to their. I got to talk to their sales
for
team.
years, and
I gotta
I
talk
don't
to their
have
I,
sales
I
team
just
and be
Arthur
like, I
used it
got
a
a guy for
lot.
you.
I just used it a lot, and in the beginning I was kind of lost, so I just played around with some of the features, but
Yeah.
it just helps. It makes it so when I think about doing Bible study without Logos, it's I'm like, oh, I gotta pull this book out, make some space. It just takes too much time to get ready. When I just turn on my computer and I can immediately log in, and everything is available to me, like instantly, I don't have to, that barrier for me to get started isn't there. So it's easier for me to just jump in and do it. So I don't know if other people have that issue, but the harder it is for me to start something, the less likely I am to actually do it.
Yeah, that's true. Carl needs to get paid for this incredible marketing. Um, I'd like your opinion on this too, Carl. This is interesting. This comment says, "Thank you for the super chat." By the way, can someone who believes in baptism? Can someone who believes?
Hold on, sorry. Before you read that, I got a drop.
No, they want your opinion on this. You
I
can't drop.
I replied my opinion. I replied.
Where?
Yeah, I replied to his super chat.
I don't see it here.
I said yes, they can still be saved, but if the water dries up, they lose their salvation. All right, take care, guys. Love
Bye.
you. Carl, love you, brother.
Bye. Love you too, man.
So let me see if I can bring Carl here on this. So his face is not gigantic on my screen. So can someone who believes baptism is essential for salvation be saved? Yeah, I didn't see his comment either, by the way. I don't know where he responded that. Carl, do you got an opinion on this?
I don't think you're damned because you believe baptism. Unless you're believing it's like a work, like it's a work that earns you salvation, then you have works-based salvation. But if you just believe, I must be baptized because it is a command by Jesus, and if I don't obey his command,
Yeah, the question
I
is
don't
if
think they're
yeah,
damned.
it becomes essential for salvation, right? Like believe and be baptized. I just think people can be wrong and about things and be saved. Because I know I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about a number of things. I just don't know what they are. I wish I did. Then I'd change my mind on them. There isn't a Christian on the planet that isn't wrong about something. And that ranges, right? That ranges from anything that is just like minuscule, doesn't matter very much, to a bit more serious things that you could be wrong about and still be saved. So yeah, Matthew says,
Yeah,
I
100%.
recently had a conversation.
I have friends who are annihilationists, and I don't think they're damned because they're annihilationists. By the way, recently I've become more sympathetic towards annihilationists. So, yeah, but it doesn't. I could be wrong about my eschatology. Does that mean I'm damned?
Yeah.
You know.
Correct. And I don't know why immediately the thoughts we have here are then they're not saved. Like somehow it ends up there, which is really weird. Okay, so we're here. You guys, go ahead. Tell us where this conversation came from.
Carl?
What's up, man?
Yeah, it's something that I haven't thought a lot about, but just recently it kind of came up. It actually came up because I was trying to join NeedGod.net's Discord server. And to join the server, they start doing this interview. And in the interview, it's like, trying to make sure you know the gospel, right? Like, you're not trusting anything but Christ, your works don't save you. But then essentially the interview turned to where it was like trying to get me to condemn everybody that believes that baptism is necessary. Like I have to basically condemn them. And so it kind of got into like an argument. And I'm not sure if I'm arguing with just a mod or if it was NeedGod.net himself that's like just behind his different account. But so because I had that argument with them, I went onto his show and asked him about it. And, you know, essentially the argument is, well, it's a work and you're relying on a work to save you. So that's why I wanted your thoughts on it because I don't see it that way. But
Yeah, even if you are
even though I don't
relying,
believe.
which is what Carl said, even if you are relying it, um, is God's grace sufficient enough to cover your wrong ideas and beliefs about things in that
Right.
matter? Like I would say yes. Doug Wilson has a really good video about, I think it's like G.K. Chesterton and J.R. Tolkien and why he thinks they're believers and saved and stuff because they're Catholic. And he goes, as a Protestant, I believe that God's grace covers wrong beliefs that we have. That's like that's such a good, simple way of putting it. Um, so let me ask. I have another question about this now. That's interesting. I don't get it. Sometimes I just stay away from some of the stuff online, but it's a Discord server. Is that meant for Christians only?
Yeah.
And you got to go through like an interview sort of process. Sounds like a
Right.
church membership class. That's why it's weird to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Well,
I'm
it's funny
okay.
because
Like I'm okay with saying, hey, if you're going to be a part of our church, you have to affirm the following doctrinal statements. Like
I gotta
every
bring up for
church is.
you his code of conduct is so funny because it's when you actually get on there, it's like the things you can't promote, and a lot of it are like negative statement. Like it's like negative statements. So he's like, you can't promote anything that, or you can't promote any idea that's not. I'm trying to think of how he phrased it. It's really funny. He's like, you can't promote any doctrine that is hell not being eternal torment or something. It's like a negative.
Oh.
So I'm just like, okay, so and it was like that with a ton of stuff. It was like you can't be Arminian, you can't be a provisionist. Like, I mean, not that you can't be those things, but you can't promote any of them. It was like, so you basically is if you disagree with him, you're not allowed to say anything. It was he even went down to like if you think
Wait,
presuppositional
is he
apologetics
a
is the best
Calvinist?
method.
Is he Reformed?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. He was like, he
It might be
even
because
called
he's
it like, if you
Australian.
think
Yeah.
precept apologetics, he's British, I think, but he's like, if you think
No,
precept apologetics is the best, you
I'm
can't
pretty sure
say
he's Australian.
anything.
Oh yeah,
Is
I'm definitely banned from that server.
Wait, he's a
anyway, it just
Calvinist, but
cracked
he's
me up.
against presuppositional apologetics?
Yeah, if you think that's the best method, just keep your mouth shut on there. Anyway, it just kind of cracked me up. Some of the code of conduct stuff, I was like, wait, what? So
I
what
mean,
exactly, like, are we all just patting each other on the back? Like, we're
yeah,
all right about these. Like, I don't know. It just
What's
was
the
kind of funny.
point of that Discord server at the end of the day?
Yeah, one might argue it's in the name Discord. You're supposed to
Yeah,
be in Discord about things.
that's good.
oh, that's so good. Yes, yes, sir. It is in the name. Um, Jerome got offended. He's like, bro, he's not British.
He's not British? My bad,
I don't think
Jerome.
so.
My
Yeah, I
bad.
think
I
he's
don't mean to
Australian.
insult you.
Pretty sure
Yeah,
he's
he says
Australian.
that.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's interesting to me because, look, if I'm going to get into dialogues online with people, and in the way he does specifically, because he's evangelizing,
right.
I would just assume that his Discord would look like the way his online stuff is, whereas inviting people who aren't Christians into dialogue with him on a different platform, that just makes sense to me. Instead of instead of making it even narrower, it's not
Right.
just any Christian that can join. It is you got to really agree with me on this stuff to join, and that's just weird to me because it's not a church.
I can understand
Yeah.
when you're saying, okay, we're on here and these are topics, like I don't want every conversation derailed into something about Calvinism. I can understand that, right? Like, and even though not being a Calvinist, if you had a Calvinist group meeting and you're like, look, you can be here, but don't like every time we talk about something, turn it into this. Like, I understand
Yeah,
some of that, but it ends up being sort of um, like the fact that for one to even get in, I mean, he hasn't like said I can't be in yet, but it essentially sounds to me like if I'm not willing to say that everybody who thinks baptism is essential for
the
salvation,
papists are
that they're
going to
all
hell.
going to hell, if I don't agree to that, like I don't even hold that view, right? Like I'm not saying that baptism is essential. I don't see it that way. So I agree with him, but I just don't look at it as a salvific issue. It's like, is that a reason to bar somebody? Like that just seems crazy to me. It's like at that point, you're just saying, well, you have to agree with me on literally everything in order to have Discord with me, other than on my show, which being on his show, by the way, was kind of funny. I called you being when you were talking over Tom, I was saying, yeah, you're being the neatgod.net of debaters right now, because that's exactly what he did the whole time. I was like, I could barely get my point across before being interrupted. Anyway,
With Tom, I can do that.
it just, yeah, well,
But
you're not
I
in a
can
serious
see I
debate,
can
though.
see where I can see where he's coming from, because that's why I said initially, it depends on what you mean by essential. If it is a work that is required for salvation, then it is a works-based gospel. But if it's just a belief, like I must have faith, like kind of like that, I don't think
Right.
that's necessarily
Carl,
damning.
wouldn't you distinguish between, say, someone being saved and articulating or believing, expressing the necessary, essential kind of components of the gospel incorrectly, but them still being saved, versus teaching
Yeah,
like a
even
false gospel completely, right? Like Jesus and God or something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, even with Trinitarian theology, I don't know about our church, but let's say I've been to some churches where I think the congregants are believers, but they can't articulate the Trinity very well. They
Yeah.
might be saying something that's modalism or partialism, but they don't know that that's what they're doing. But you know what I mean? So just because they can't, I don't know how to explain it. If they can't,
Yeah.
articulate it properly, I don't think they're damned
Right.
just because they're
Yeah.
maybe more ignorant on the topic, but they believe what's necessary, what's essential.
Well, and so here's the distinction I made to him, which I think is a distinction that needs to be made when talking about this. There's a difference between saying that there is something, a condition to receive Christ's righteousness. Okay, so for instance,
Yeah.
anybody who's not a Calvinist is going to say faith is a condition. I mean, Calvinists might say that, but essentially God meets that condition, right? So, but anybody's going to say on our end, faith has to be established. And he didn't deny that when we talked. If you look at baptism as a necessary condition to receive Christ's righteousness, that is different than saying that baptism is itself a righteous work that justifies me. And so that's what I think is happening when Paul is condemning, for instance, those who thought circumcision is necessary. They didn't look at it as, well, if I, circumcised physically, well, then God imputes his righteousness. They looked at it as, if I'm circumcised, I am made righteous, right? Through that act makes me clean, right? Eating of the clean animals makes me clean. Following the law makes me righteous, which, to be fair, if you were able to follow the law perfectly, it would make you righteous.
Yeah.
And the fact is that you can't. So Paul is condemning this idea that you are, like Romans 10 is where I quoted to him. I said, essentially what Paul is condemning is the establishing of your own righteousness in order to be saved. Somebody who thinks that Christ's righteousness is imputed to them through baptism, I disagree, but I don't think that's the same as them believing they are righteous in their works and therefore saved. That's the distinction I'm trying to make, and it felt like really hard to get that point across because he kept interrupting me. And we kind of got into an argument about what a work is and stuff, and I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. That's not really the point. All works are in regards to the law. And he was like denying that, which was really funny to me. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that distinction I'm trying to make?
I think it's a fine distinction, as distinctions go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to
I
land
just,
when they don't let you.
right. Well,
But
to me, it's
look, man, it's hard for me because, like, I've seen him in conversation with people, and like I don't know much more about kind of what it does. I mean, to me, he was doing evangelism. That was really cool. And then I saw him getting into conversations with like Catholics and Orthodox and kind of within the Christian camp. And I don't know how those went. I've just seen that he's been in those conversations, and I don't know, man. Maybe sometimes I ask like a question like, we have to be very careful if we have a calling and a gifting by God to do things a certain way, to not be sidetracked from that specific calling. Like, for example, if I think God's called me to be an evangelist or a pastor or something like that, and then next thing you know, I'm functioning as something other than that, like a Christian debater, right? Or a Christian content creator. Like that's very different. Like that categorically looks different. What I do on my channel and what someone like Ruslan does on his channel are very different things.
Yeah.
And multiple times, I'll tell you this multiple times, and even what John McCrae does on his channel are very different things, versus like what Avery does on his channel. There's been multiple times where I've seen something come up and I have texted it to Ruslan and said, make a video about this. I think you do a really good job on this subject. It's just not like within my wheelhouse. And I think we got to be careful. And I don't know whether he's kind of gotten sidetracked and starts having these conversations between Catholics and Protestants, like in that dialogue, kind of what Gavin Ortland does. Like what Gavin does is brilliant. And Gavin thinks that we need more Protestants to be doing what he does. I'm quoting Gavin right there. He thinks that we need a lot more Protestants to be doing what he does. But like, just because Gavin says that, I'm not going to like change the way I do my ministry and do what he does. And I'm not going to get pulled into that. I'll have those conversations, but I just don't think it's something that God's really called me to step into and do. If he does, then I'll do it. And I don't know. It becomes really confusing to me as to why we'll see these pivots happen, especially online, especially when you're doing a pretty good job evangelizing to the lost. And again, some of those might be people who obviously who confess to be Catholics and they're really not. Like I distinguish between people who confess to be Catholic and an actual Catholics, or like believing Catholics versus what I would say like nominal folks. I mean, we see that in every camp. We can see that amongst the Orthodox. You'll see that amongst Protestants. That's like very clearly the case. Like Carl sitting here, Carl, you would have distinguished yourself. You would right now distinguish yourself from 10 years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah. I mean, no, in regards to being a believer is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But you thought you were, and you were like confessing certain things, right? Like, and then like, imagine if I just took that idea and then I started speaking about like all Protestants within that kind of a camp. It would just be unfair to me. Like, why would we do this?
And here's the thing too, is because he's not even, but when you're talking just baptism, it's not like that's just disqualifies Catholics or something, or Eastern Orthodoxy. This is Lutherans, this is Church of Christ, this is the early church. There's a lot of people that I think have to be included there. And not to say that the early church all thought like baptismal regeneration or anything, but it was pretty clear they thought this was something that Christians need to do. And I will say this, one big difference that I see between something like
but they might even use language like it's necessary for salvation.
Right.
And then speak about it a bit, like pivot it a little bit in regards to their view of what salvation actually is and stuff, yeah.
And what I think happens is guys like needgod.net, I told you about the conversation with Corey Minor. Some of these guys, when you set yourself up as not just a teacher, but the Bible answer man, right? You're the one, you call into me and I'm going to set you straight. I think that fundamentally, when you have that persona online, and that's what you're trying to do, and that's what you essentially bill yourself as, right? I'm here to give you the answers. Well, when somebody comes on there and it's a true challenge, all of a sudden, well, you're not so easy going. You're not so quick to let the other person just say what they're going to say and allow for real dialogue, because you might not come across as the persona you're billing yourself as. And that's where, to me, there's a big difference, right? You do call-ins, you've had lots of different people on. But I think there's a difference is you'll let anybody come on, you'll let anybody talk, even if there are instances where, you're like, you know what, that actually does change my opinion. You have to have a humble attitude. You have to say, look, I'm here learning. I'm here to understand. I'm not the answer guy on every single subject. Come call into me about whatever. Like I can't imagine. All right, there are certain doctrines where I think, all right, I know how to argue this thing fairly well. I still generally feel inept about, like, if I was going to debate on it or something. But like something I know fairly well, I feel like, man, those are things that have so much time goes into that. I can't imagine, like, there's maybe 2 or 3 things where I'd be like, I know enough to like really carry a conversation on that. These guys it's like they're the grand master of every topic. Like, they're going to tell you why baptism, they're going to argue that. They're going to argue against Eastern Orthodoxy. They're going to argue end times. That's crazy to me. Like, to think of yourself that way just seems insane to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to say,
Oh man.
but I'll say what this guy said. Thanks for the super chat, Gev. He said, love you guys. Thank you for this channel, Arthur. Listening to your online ministry has genuinely made me a much more well-rounded believer and thinker. That's the goal. And I suppose I don't really like positioning myself in comparison to some of the other folks online. But maybe that's what my kind of thing is, niche is, compared to other folks, is that my goal is not to convince you guys to believe all the stuff I believe in. I legitimately don't care unless if it comes to the gospel. Like, then I want you to believe the gospel and be saved. If you're a heathen unbeliever, like, you need to get yourself saved, right? But like, if you're a Christian, I prefer to be in dialogue with you, and then try to learn from you, and then hopefully you can learn a couple of things from me, and then we can at least like understand each other well, get our terms like probably squared. Like, if I'm talking to someone, look, let's just put it this way: if I get into a conversation with a Catholic or Eastern Orthodox or something like that, and we get into it, right, and then by the end of that conversation, we come to the realization, which often happens with me if I talk to them, we come to the conversation. The end result is that the real difference between you and I is that I believe that the Bible is the sole authority or the supreme authority when it comes to our faith, and you believe it's the Bible as interpreted by the church. I'm giving a lot of slack there, right? Like, but it's essentially the church as they interpret the Bible, or their particular version, their particular church, right? So Eastern Orthodox would say their church, Catholics would say their church. Like, if that conversation ends with you and I saying, "Amen," we know exactly where the disagreement is. Like, we've pinpointed it. Like, I'm so satisfied with that conversation. We've gotten somewhere. It wasn't just we leave the conversation frustrated, and then for me to go sit there and be like, did I just waste 2 hours? Because what the scripture teaches about time, right? We ought to rescue the time, man. The days are evil. Like, we got to be very careful with this. And I think a lot of people, like, I don't want to ever leave a conversation where I go, did I just waste 2 hours? Did I just waste an hour or 30 minutes or something like that? Like, I want it to be valuable in one way or another, especially when it comes into conversations with folks. And then coming to now, because now the next time that person gets into a conversation with someone, they can actually have a better starting point.
Right.
If I can do that with a Muslim man, if I can do that with a Jehovah's Witness or a Hebrew Israelite or whatever, an atheist, and then the next time they get into a conversation with another Christian and their starting point is more clear and well defined, some awesome groundwork has been done, if I'm to use planting language, right? Some digging and things have been done for another brother or sister in the Lord to continue that conversation, and get it somewhere else. Like, that's what my goal is. And I'm not just looking for fights, man. Like, I trust me, I can get into a lot of fights just without being on the internet. It's not
Well,
By
hard.
the
and
way,
like you
I've noticed
said,
that a lot of the arguments I get into, it can be kind of squashed if we define terms
Yeah.
properly.
Amen.
That usually ends the misunderstanding, and then we can move forward from there.
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
as
8
you're
out of 10
saying,
times.
it helps you as much as it can help other people, right? And I think that's kind of
Yeah.
the attitude that you should have, is that I'm not here to sit and set everybody straight because I have all the answers, but it's, you're never going to have all the answers to everything. And that's just kind of the persona that a lot of these guys have on YouTube. And just for real quick before I head off, something I've been thinking about recently when it comes to like the labels that a lot of people like to, well, we disqualify, right? If you believe baptism is necessary, you're going to hell. So, Lutherans are unsaved. We kind of do like we like to put everybody into broad categories. A sentiment that I wanted your take on, if you can agree with this, is most of these systems, like there are systems that are simply not conducive to salvation, right? So, for instance, Islam. If you identify as a Muslim, you're not saved. Like, I don't think you can unless you completely don't know what Islam is and you somehow believe Christ. Like, that's crazy. But pretty much, if you identify as a Muslim, you're not saved. Same thing if you're atheist, if you false religions, right? When we break it down to, there are certain cults that I think would fall into pretty much that category as well, right? Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, if you're identifying that way, you don't know the Bible well enough, I would argue, to understand salvation, is how it would seem to me, if you don't outright believe something that's just unsalvific.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you
I put
believe
people into
what
that
the
category.
official, if you believe what the official stance is on the
Right.
matter is, then you're not saved.
Well, and I would say if somebody identifies as one, it would seem like they're so illiterate on what the truth is that I don't think they possess it if you
Yeah.
identify as a Jehovah's Witness. You know, I would say you fall into one of those categories, right? I think you can kind of say, as Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, on the whole, that is not a saved group, right? When you start getting closer to home, like Catholics, it's like, okay, a lot of people tend to like, they want to disqualify Catholics altogether, but then they'll also say, well, somebody can be a Catholic and just not understand, right? Like, maybe if you hold to the doctrines, this is to me where I'd say, okay, I almost look at, when you start getting to those systems, it's, to what degree are these things conducive? Like, what is the likelihood you're going to be led to Christ through them, right? Because if you're a Baptist, that doesn't mean you're saved, right? Like let's be clear. People
Yeah.
look at it that way. Like, well, Baptists are saved. Well, it depends. I've known some Baptists that were definitely not saved. I've had people in my family that were Baptist ministers that were very wicked people that
Mm.
held to everything. You know, if you asked them what they believed, well, they hold to whatever's in their, their whatever book that Baptists hold to. Okay, it's can be, right? It can lead, that system of beliefs, that system of religion, that can lead to salvation, right? And it's almost like we're saying it has a higher chance, like it's closer, what it holds to leading people there, right? So Baptists may be more likely than Catholics. Catholics, because they add so much to what you have to do to receive Christ's righteousness, it oftentimes leads to works-based salvation. I don't necessarily think it has to be. The same way, like, if you take the logic of, you can be wrong about baptism being a necessary condition, I think you can be wrong about a whole lot more conditions, right? In fact, if you go back to the Reformation, that was the church. They were, doing all kinds of things that were added traditions and added conditions onto salvation. I don't think the entire church was lost prior to the Reformation,
Mm.
up
That's
to
right.
that point,
And
right?
neither did the reformers, by the way.
Right. Well,
That's very
after the
important.
Reformation, I don't think everybody that was remained in the Catholic Church was lost at that point in time. And yet, in some ways, it was just as ugly then as it is now. I mean, you could say they're more ecumenical now and including, but largely the conditions on salvation, I don't know, you could argue they were less works-based back then as far as the accusation goes towards
Yeah.
them. So to me, it's kind of like, it's less conducive to somebody coming to true faith, right? It's less likely to get them there because when you add so many conditions, you're going to inevitably make people rely on their performance, right? It definitely is more likely to do that than something like Baptist. But it's not that it is necessarily lead you away from Christ. And it's like the same way that Baptists don't necessarily lead you to salvation, right? Do you agree with that sentiment? Does that make sense? Or would you say,
Yeah, I think
no,
so. I think
Catholics have to
again,
be lost?
Protestants get accused of being a restorationist movement, by the way, like Mormons and stuff like that, often from the other side. And
Right.
this is where they're wrong about Protestants, is that if you actually go and read the Reformers, they're not actually coming out and saying, "Oh, the gospel was completely lost, and therefore we had to like find it again." Kind of the way, say, like Joseph Smith's arguments were. And the way it developed. But they were they were kind of talking about their contemporaries and the leadership predominantly. So there's a lot of literature you can find in reformers, first, second generation reformers that are talking about Catholics being saved. I mean, is anybody going to sit there and tell me that Luther didn't think? Why am I forgetting his name? The guy he debated. Oh, who's the languages guy that he debated?
Was it Eusebius?
No,
That
no,
you're
no,
thinking of?
no. Luther
Is that the wrong name?
debated. It is the
Oh,
wrong name.
Luther debated. What was his name? I don't remember what his name was. I know who
The
you're talking
Greek
about. The guy
pronunciation
that
is named after him. Carl.
it's the guy that wrote the Freedom, like
Oh,
the counter to his book, right?
Erasmus.
Erasmus. right?
Erasmus.
Like is someone gonna sit there and say like Luther didn't think Erasmus was a believer? Right? Like, it's just like they had theological disagreements, obviously, and Erasmus even had disagreements with the Catholic Church, but remained Catholic. And or like Augustine. Like we're gonna sit there and be like, and Augustine, by the way, in his book The City of God, speaks about how there's fake people in the church who affirm all the creeds, who affirm all the stuff we affirm, but they're heathens, right? Like there's
Right.
nothing Christianly about them. So I think what you said is actually a really, really good way of thinking about it. Like these things will lead you to salvation if you properly pay attention to it. But the other ones, if you actually pay attention to it, are going to lead you to hell, right?
Right.
And we can talk about dangers. We can talk about unnecessary requirements. We can even talk about unbiblical requirements that are placed on people. Like I think what Paul is dealing with, and what the early church deals with, right? These are burdens we shouldn't be putting on these people, kind of conversations. And that's all fair. But it's interesting to always go back to Acts 15, and um, the debate comes about from within the church because it says some of the disciples who were of the party of the Pharisees arose saying, "You must be circumcised," about the Gentiles. So there's a number of things we know about them that Scripture affirms, like they're disciples of Jesus, that they're theologically Pharisaic. And then now they're adding this extra requirement on the Gentiles, which is circumcision. And then, like, I feel like nowadays, if those things came up, people's immediate response would be like, "You're not Christians, and you're not saved." But Scripture affirms their discipleship to Jesus. I mean, it's synonymously using disciple and Christian, I think, there, right? Like, by calling them disciples, it means that they're the real deal. And then so the church has a council and they talk about it, and they kind of fix it up. But like I wish we took that and understood within the modern context of the church, we're gonna have people, and some of us are that, maybe, I don't know, that are going to be like the, say, Pharisee disciples in Acts 15, who are adding extra components to what it means to follow Jesus, like they were. And then you get maybe this other category that I think is a bit different, by the way, when the Judaizers are following Paul around, and with them, they're now teaching a different gospel. I do think there's a difference between what we're seeing in Acts 15 with these disciples who are Pharisees and what they're asking versus the Judaizers who are kind of following Paul around and kind of changing his message
Well,
every time he
and I
leaves
think that,
somewhere.
yeah, I think the distinction could be made between somebody saying, well, circumcision is still a necessary condition for you to be given
A
Christ's
Christian.
righteousness, and saying you have to do this aspect of the law and make yourself righteous enough to be saved. Those two things are different. And like I kind of alluded to earlier, and something I pushed Brian from need.net on, is if you say that people are automatically disqualified from baptism, right, because they think of that as a condition in order to be saved, it seems like it would push you into a hyper Calvinism like immediately. It seems like you'd say, well, if faith is something done or that originates from the part of the individual, right, it's not something given to them, then that means there's a condition. So when he tries to say, well, it's baptism plus Christ, well, then it would be on if you're talking about anybody that's not a Calvinist, it would be faith plus Christ, right? And to me, it's like if you're not maintaining the distinction that the salvation itself, what justifies you, what makes you righteous, is Christ's blood. My faith does not in and of itself make me righteous, right? If you're not maintaining that distinction, then you would have to basically condemn everybody that is not saying that faith is given to us and it doesn't originate from within us. It seems like, and obviously he doesn't want to do that, right? He's a Calvinist, but he doesn't want to condemn everybody who disagrees with him on that. And it's like, well, I think you almost have to. And if we acknowledge that, and we acknowledge baptism, I think you could acknowledge, well, there can be some room for error there, that somebody can have a few things they see as conditions needing to be met, in order to receive Christ's righteousness, and it doesn't automatically disqualify them, whether that's the Lord's Supper or whatever, other things that we can say. There's a difference between that and them relying on their works and their own righteousness. Anyway, but that's all
Yeah,
I
I
have to
wish
say about
you
that.
know sometimes I think this has just constantly been the struggle of the church, and I wish more people actually studied historical theology. In that we've always had groups, like for example, in early Christianity, there were individuals that were teaching if you're in the Roman military, you can't be a Christian. You're unsaved by being in the Roman military. And then when Christianity sort of takes over, the persecution cease, the empire becomes Christian and stuff like that. Then Christians are confronted to think about new things that they've never thought about. For example, how can you be a good righteous Christian and be a general in the Roman military? And so this is where we get developments of like just war theory and all that, and Augustine kind of starts dealing with this, and so do a bunch of other theologians. But then you get like a group of people who are still stuck with this thing of like, no, you can't be a Christian. And those groups always end up becoming some weird heretical group. Like always end up being that. I'm just stating the facts of what we've seen throughout history. For example, there's I forget what the group is called, but like there's a situation where under persecution, a bunch of Christians denied Christ. And then when the persecutions died down, they came back and they were like, look, we made a mistake. We repent. We shouldn't have done that. And they want to be joined back to the church. And then there's a whole group that came out and they were like, no, you guys can't come back to the church. You're done. Like, and then so this became largely the church accepted these folks back. That group didn't, separated themselves, ended up developing other weird theological. They always end up like coming up with, they don't remain orthodox in regards to proper theology. They end up developing something weird, and then you can legitimately call them a full-blown cult and heretical movement. That's not always the case. Like it's not always easy to spot and identify a group as like a cult. Sometimes obviously they develop like that, right? So like Islam maybe develops like that, let's just say. By the way, I know people might be like, but Islam is a different religion. If you go look at the foundations of Islam, they're actually drawing upon Christian and Jewish teaching and saying we're the fulfillment of these things. So that's why I put them in that category. But even if you look at, say, movements like the Jehovah's Witnesses, they kind of come out with sort of set doctrines that immediately put them at odds with Orthodox Christianity. But other times you don't. You have groups that are developing in such ways where very slowly they end up, so they come out of the church and then they go astray and end up in this really weird position. Like that's definitely possible, and it's happened. And it's happened with individuals. It's happened with small groups that never really made, they never really kind of gained a big following. But it's happened historically. You can go look them up and study them, and it's very interesting and fascinating to look at some of that stuff. And sometimes I look at what's going on in the church because we are living history, right? Like we will be the past. And like it's strange because I don't know what it's going to look like for certain people who have certain followings in like 20 years, whether like we'll sit back and look at it in 20 years and be like, yeah, man, that guy started pretty decent. Carl, I'm thinking about someone you were speaking about. You're like, hey, I started watching this guy and he seemed like a normal dude. And then like, he's just gotten weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
Like absolutely went off the deep end. And we don't know what that's going to look like. It could be, and hopefully we all hope and pray for this, that, in some time, hopefully not too long, he says, guys, I was wrong. I repent. here's why I was wrong. My logic went in this direction and I took it too far. I was wrong, and he repents and stuff. But it could also be 20 years later, we're looking at it and saying anybody who follows that guy is a full blown cult. Like they're denying all sorts of weird stuff. They might deny and the heresies aren't always that clear. They might actually come to a place where they're like, suppose they like deny the full humanity of some people. I think that's a heresy.
That's where it would lead if they
specifically the one we're talking about. It would absolutely lead
there.
there.
He's at the point where he's denying that Jesus was a Jew because of, I don't know, Jew haters that want to become Christians. Like what? Like from both sides, he's a Jew. But I think that's a little bit different than the Catholic or the.
No, I know. I'm just. I was more talking about like the online space and how people gain followings and the sort of stuff they say. Again, because I'm a history nut, and I kind of look at it in and I think the adage is true that there's that all new news is old news happening to new people. I think that's a brilliant statement, and I look at it through that lens of really the stuff we're experiencing and experimenting with is really not that new. The medium is new, like we're on YouTube and whatever, TikTok and Instagram, stuff like that. The way we interact with each other is new, but in regards to what it could develop into and become, it's not something that history has not seen. And that's why I look at it and I go, it'd be interesting to see where some of this stuff is in 15 years.
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
but I wouldn't agree with you guys. I wouldn't agree with you guys on the Catholic thing. Like if
you can't disagree with me on my show, bro.
Actually, Carl, if you don't agree with me on this, I consider it a salvific issue. So
you're done.
You're going to hell for this, by the way. But go ahead.
So with the Catholic, like if someone is actually Catholic and they hold to the what the church has said in the past, like I forget which one of their churches it was, where they said if you believe faith alone in Christ alone, that you are an anathema. Like if you believe that, I don't know if you can be a Christian. There are if I'm a JW and I deny the Trinity, I don't know if I can be a Christian. I'm sure there are those in the Catholic Church who aren't by definition Catholics, but they consider themselves Catholics. But I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy who knows what he's talking about, like Trent Horn or I forgot that guy's name, Kwaku, who debated James White on Mormonism.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you on that. If somebody is holding to all the Catholic doctrines, I think essentially it does come down to you're relying on performance, and the same thing the JWs do, and anathematizing and calling it a salvific issue if you don't think you have to meet these conditions. Like I would say that's different, so I agree with that. I guess more my point was I was talking more about the general follower, right? Like somebody calls themselves a Catholic, I think they can be maybe even relying on like thinking baptism, thinking taking communion, things like that are necessary for Christ's righteousness. And they can still be saved and be wrong about that. But I think I'd probably agree with you. The perpetrators of these doctrines, I don't know that I could, affirm.
Yeah. To be gracious to our Catholic interlocutors.
Now.
I was gonna say be gracious to our Catholic.
You're back in the kingdom, Carl.
Yeah, you're safe. You're safe now. You weren't for like 30 seconds.
You were close.
To be fair, with our
here is really weird, and it looks like I have a black tooth like right here. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah,
it's not actually black. It's just darkness here.
He's dying. I punched him in the face yesterday, and then he got a black tooth.
Yeah.
I said to be fair to our Catholic interlocutors, it could be that sometimes, and I've seen this happen. That's why I'm saying this. Protestants will argue against outdated Catholic theology, meaning like Catholics no longer believe that stuff. They've had other councils. So let's just say like Vatican II and statements in Vatican II versus, what the reformers were dealing with, Council of Trent kind of stuff. Not to be confused with Trent Horn, by the way. And Vatican I, like even Catholics themselves internally disagree with that stuff. Like there's Catholics who are like, no, we reject Vatican II. And then they got to make sense of it, right? Like they internally, they got to be like, wait, are these guys who are rejecting Vatican II saved? Are they not? Like they got to deal with that. And I just, again, want to bring more complications into those conversations. And then you have individuals who believe in Jesus who are like, what the heck is Vatican II, that are in the Catholic Church, you know?
Yeah.
Like you get a wide range of individuals, and you get people who are just absolutely nominal, born and raised, like somebody, let's just say some Italian dude who's like, yeah, of course I'm Catholic. And then, you know, there's nothing even, it's not that he's Catholic, it's like there's nothing Christian about the guy.
So let me try to make a distinction here that I think would be helpful. Look back at when they were reforming the church. Okay,
I'm
You
sorry,
had
we have a question
priests.
here for Carlos. It says question for Carlos. Hey, Carlos, how does a Catholic hold to all the Catholic doctrines and be consistent?
Yeah, exactly. It's a good point.
Yeah, but his name is not Carlos, by the way. Just saying.
If I was Hispanic or Spanish, it would probably be. Even in Greek, my name is actually Carlos.
Yeah, his name is Carl. Carl, like the Marx.
No, with mine's with the C.
Well, I want to make a distinction when you're talking about during the time of the Reformation. You had Catholics where you were paying them in order to have your sins forgiven, right? Now, what I'm trying to say is, I think there can be people that are victims of that system, and it doesn't mean that they're going to hell and are believing in their works to save them. I think they can think, well, these are things I have to do to receive Christ's imputed righteousness. Now, not all of them necessarily. Some of them may absolutely be relying on their works and thinking they're making themselves righteous. But I think there can be people that are wrong about that, and yet still be people that are saved and trusting in Christ. They're just wrong about what the conditions are. On the other hand, the people that are the perpetrators of merchandising the gospel and forgiveness of sins, I could not call that person a brother, right? So these people that are in the Catholic Church doing those kinds of things, I absolutely would not say, well, yeah, the priest who's making people pay their church so that they can go to heaven. I think that's something where I would say is absolutely the kind of corruption that leads to damnation if you're a perpetrator of that. So if that kind of helps the distinction, Carl, that I'm
Sure, and
trying to make there.
I think we get biblical categories for that in regards to the blind leading the blind as well. I mean, it's interesting that Jesus criticizes both the follower and the leader in certain conversations. Right? Like, for example, the blind leading the blind means the religious blind folks leading the people who are blind. And so there ought to be some responsibility. But I can see definitely in situations in which you're right. Some people are just like innocently trying to be, faithful and honoring to the Lord, and then their leadership is corrupt and leading them. Carl, I was actually thinking about like Eli's, because we've been reading the Old Testament stuff in our Bible studies, like Eli's sons, like just absolutely corrupt, heinous individuals, and then the people that are like listening to these guys. It's like your average individual who's actually listening to these guys is in a completely different place than them, even if they're telling them to do wrong things. And then those people maybe even like sincerely are doing those wrong things. Would be a category like
to
that.
Their priests.
Yeah, exactly. I knew this was going to come up, but I'm going to answer a couple
By the
of
way,
these.
I got to start heading out.
Yep. Go
from
for
the dip. But I'll see you guys later.
See you, bro.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and head out too,
Okay.
Arthur. I appreciate your time.
Leave me alone, man. Yeah, it's all good.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. I'm gonna respond to a number of these comments that have come in, guys. And can a house church ministry be considered a cult? Again, not in and of itself. Like if we were to say that, then all the early churches that were meeting in homes would be considered that. It really depends what they believe. And I've seen completely different models of house churches, so I don't want to speak about that. Kind of just overgeneralizing. Doesn't necessarily have to be. Yeah. What about Orthodox Christians who think they were born Christian? Again, we got to sit down and see what that means. Like if that means, my parents are Christian, so therefore I'm a Christian, then it's like, okay, cool. I understand what you're saying. Are we using Christian and saved interchangeably? That's a different conversation to have. Are we using Christian as an identity marker, like a cultural identity marker? So those change. Merchandising, like Ruslan, no, Jerome, relax. Carl blocked me for asking Tom a question, by the way. What? Okay, I'll ask Carl why I did that. Okay. Man, this has been good conversation. Tom was on, he had to leave because he had more important things to do with his life. We've been on for 3 hours and 19 minutes. 19 seconds. Okay, perfect time to stop. Enjoy the conversation, you guys. Hopefully it's benefited you. God bless you guys. And we'll let you guys know where we're going with some of the promotional stuff that we're doing. And with all that said, take care. God bless. See you next time.